Okay.
I'm gonna buy an extension cord for the table.
Is your battery okay?
It is, it's full, but like it's in, I bought a used computer.
Oh,
It should last.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June 9th, 2026 Planning Board meeting. I'd like to start with the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a few announcements for those of you who may not have attended meeting before. The emergency exits are on the left and right sides of the room. Restrooms are out back and to the left. Please be sure to sign the attendance sheet at the back of the meeting room, even if you are a developer and presenting an application. So if you haven't had a chance to sign in, please do so. There are business cards at the back of the table also with contact information for the planning department. Also on the back table are copies of any resolutions that will be read tonight along with the agenda. Please silence your cell phone so you don't interrupt those who are presenting before the board and having conversations with the board members. And also please take all conversations that you may have amongst yourselves out into the hallway and close the doors behind you so that it doesn't disrupt the meeting. Thank you. There are no meeting minutes for approval this evening. We've received a number of correspondence over the last several weeks, many of them regarding Azano Circle, and the adjacent application Novarise. Also, one for the TNT fireworks tent and another one regarding Norbut Solar Farm. Board and committee updates. Jen Tipton from the town board is here. Jen, do you have any comments?
I have nothing for you this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Keith Maynard for a planning board update.
Good evening, Keith Maynard, project manager for the town of Victor. Your next planning board meeting is Wednesday, June 24th at 7 p.m., so it's a Wednesday, not a Tuesday again. New items on your agenda, the Centola site plan. So the two new items are not new items, they just have been away for a while and are now coming back. One of them is Centola site plan on Baker Road. Applicant is requesting approval to construct a single-family home on 2 acres. This was part of the Vincent subdivision that was approved in 2024, and this was put on pause because of wetland regulations, and then the regulations went away, so now they're coming back. And then the second one is Polidori's are coming back for the Timberview Estates subdivision sketch plan. Applicant is requesting acknowledgement of a complete application to develop 10 residential lots on 81.5 acres. This is the first step in a major subdivision, and only acknowledgement of a complete application is considered at this meeting, and that's on Klein Road. And he did, if you remember last time when he was here for sketch plan, there was some stuff that had to be worked out with Farmington. So he did go to the Farmington Planning Board meeting, I think it was last week, or the week before, last week, I think. So they've sent Lisa minutes, so those will be in your packets, and they just today sent us a YouTube link like you can see your meetings on. So Lisa and I'll figure out where in the meeting it is and send you that link too with the exact time that that application starts. So, all right, any questions?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Keith. We have 8 items on the agenda, one of which has been removed for the June 24th meeting, and that's the number 5, the Mortellaro site plan. So if you're here for that and don't wish to stay here for others, then you certainly are free to leave. First up this evening is not a public hearing. It was closed, but it's for the Norbut Solar Farm. Applicant is requesting approval to modify the site plan and special use permit that was approved by the Planning Board on October 30th, 2025. Project is proposing a 4.428 megawatt AC solar energy facility on 34.93 acre parcel, from fixed tilt racking to a single access tracker racking system that would be able to track the sun throughout the day. Mr. Kritikos.
Good evening, everyone. My name is James Kritikos. I'm with PME Associates. Here with me this evening is Victor Chacha from Norbert Solar Farms. I think we kind of answered all the questions at the last meeting, but obviously if there's any more that come up, me or Victor would be happy to address them for you. So, we did have a chance to read through the resolution, and we don't have any questions or comments on that either.
And you received the correspondence, the letter from Donna, is it? Donna L. regarding that solar project?
Is that the one you sent me a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it was on YouTube.
Okay.
Suzie had given it to me.
Okay.
Actually, I have it right here. She had a comment, nobody's addressing the EMFs coming off the inverters. The intense EMFs are dangerous to people. Why is nobody asking Norbert Solar about this? The government has already stated EMFs are dangerous to people's health.
I mean, we can certainly address something and provide it back to the board, but obviously these devices are meant to do what they're doing, and I don't believe there's any hazard to the health according to specifications, so.
Okay. Unless the client wishes to comment on that.
No, I think that's pretty much kind of the stance
Okay.
on these, that they're made for this and they're, safe, but they wouldn't make them obviously if they're going to harm somebody. And on, two, obviously the facility's fenced in. These things are located, over 300 feet away from either of the two closest residences, so.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else have any comments or questions?
No, my questions about glare and noise were answered last time, so.
Okay, we had a pretty good conversation about all that. Al?
No, nothing further.
Oh, I'm good.
Trish?
No.
Okay, as, I do not either. So I think we're all set to move forward with that resolution. Okay. So for the Norbert Solar Farm, special use permit modification, Main Street Fishers, application 12 SB 26 and 1 SU 26. At the meeting of the Town of Victor Planning Board held on June 9th, 2026, the board moved adoption of the following resolution. Whereas on or about April 7th, 2026, Town of Victor Planning Board, the Planning Board received applications for special use permit and site plan approval pursuant to Chapter 211, Article 6, Solar Voltaic Systems of the Code of the Town of Victor, submitted by Norbert Solar Farms for a 4.43 megawatt AC solar photovoltaic system that uses single-axis tracker racking system on a 34.9 acre parcel located on the north side of Main Street Fishers within the Town of Victor's Residential 2 Route 96-251 overlay and large-scale solar system overlay zoning district. And there are 6 additional whereases that I won't read. Basically repeating things we discussed and actions. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby conditionally approves the project and the updated application, including site plan and special use permit application components thereof. Town application numbers 12 SP 26 and 1 SU 26, including site plan drawings prepared by BME Associates, dated April 17th, 2026, last revised May 15th, 2026, and be it further resolved, the applicant shall continue to comply with the special use permit conditions outlined in Section 21164, Paragraph F of the Code, and be it further resolved that the following conditions must be addressed prior to the planning board chair's signature being affixed to the site plan and special use permit. Number 1 is standard. Number 2, all staff, town staff and consultant comments be addressed. Number 3, regards a letter of credit or escrow account be filed with the Town of Victor. And be it further resolved that the following are ongoing conditions: that the site plan comply with the Town of Victor design and construction standards for land development, including Section 4. Number 2 is the standard. Number 3, the special use permit conditions identified in Section 21164, Paragraph F 1 through 12 of the Town Code are incorporated herein by reference, including that an acceptable form of surety is provided, approved by the town engineer and town attorney, accepted by the town board, and filed with the town clerk in an amount specified in the decommissioning plan. prior to the issuance of a building permit, and every 1 year thereafter, the large-scale solar photovoltaic system owner and/or landowner shall file with the town clerk evidence of financial surety to provide for the full cost of decommissioning and removal of the photovoltaic system in the event that the system is not removed by the system owner and/or landowner. Evidence of financial surety shall be in effect throughout the life of the system and shall be in the form of an irrevocable, acceptable form of surety or other form of surety acceptable to and approved by the town board. If the anticipated operational life of the system is amended, then a revised acceptable form of surety is to be provided by the town engineer and town attorney, acceptable by the town board and filed with the town clerk. Number 4, that a performance bond be provided and maintained in the town clerk's office per the approved site maintenance plan, where said performance bond is first approved by the town engineer and town attorney. And number 5, the building permit be obtained before the start of the building construction. And be it further resolved that the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. So with that, motion for approval of this resolution.
I'll move it.
Scott moves,
Second.
and Joe seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried 5-0.
Thank you guys very much. We'll see you soon.
Number 2, Vasta site plan modification. This also is a closed public hearing. Has been a hearing, public hearing was closed. Applicants requesting approval to modify the approved site plan 2020 to include the paved area that was installed, the current parking layout and drive aisles, the landscaping and screening changes, and stormwater system changes. Good evening.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Kyle Twombly with APD Engineering and Architecture. To add to the description, to add to that description, Mr. Vasta is also going to pave the area that is designated as proposed compacted gravel pavement, and intends to pave by the end of fall 2026 or spring 2027, and will be paved in kind according to the 2020 approved site plan. Just kind of addressing some of the code enforcement officers' comments regarding a fuel storage tank. There is a 250-gallon above ground storage tank that is used for diesel. It is currently located on the street side of the fence and will be relocated inside the fence. It has secondary containment, double walled, and will be at least 10 feet away from the building. And I think that's all I have for the code comments. Questions from the board?
Did you indicate where the fuel tank is going to be relocated?
I don't have it on this up on the site plan that you all have, but it will be right inside the fence right here.
Is that, I'm sorry, freestanding or going to be buried?
Freestanding.
Freestanding, okay. Al, any questions?
No.
Okay, Joe? No. Scott?
I think relative to these comments that came from code, I think it would be appropriate to have a written response to all of these. They seem to be significant, and they seem to be a good summary of, you know, what's been presented to us. My comment would also be that I think we've gone to the site and we've taken a look at what's there and how to rearrange it and make it work, but I think, you know, the one comment that jumps out at me came from the landscape consultant and is also noted by the code enforcement person, that the original approved site plan required the planting of trees as a natural landscaping screen, and that has never occurred, according to this comment. But moreover, the landscape consultant summed it up very, very appropriately when he said, you know, that the site is an eyesore. And I think the site is still an eyesore. And even if we get all the interior layout perfected, I guess I'd like to know what we can do to not make it an eyesore.
So in addition to the fence screening that's along the north side of there, we are proposing 3 new conifer trees just outside the fence to additionally screen from the public as you're traveling southbound on Phillips Road. In addition to that, there's already quite a bit of landscaping along the street frontage along Phillips Road. I don't think there's a lot more room to add any more landscaping in the southwest part of the site.
About the building structure, the residential structure and its appearance, is that to be upgraded and painted, sided, improved upon from what we currently see out there?
Yes, that would be part of this modified site plan that's currently under renovations, and it would be completed as part of this modified site plan.
And is there a timetable on that, a time by which it is to be complete that can be identified to us?
Max, did you looking at fall?
About a month ago when we were here, we said that it was going to be about 2.5, 3 months, but now another month has gone by. So I'm hoping to get that done by the fall.
I believe that we had indicated once you get an approval of the plans to the satisfaction of the board, then you'd have 3 months to finish it.
Yeah.
And I think you said, indicated that was feasible.
Yes.
Okay, so,
That answers my question then.
all right. Trish?
The only
I'm
thing
good.
that's not feasible.
Okay. Wes, any other outstanding engineering issues?
No, I'm in agreement with Scott that a written response to the Code Enforcement Office will be helpful. And then we will also provide a close-the-loop letter, and I'll have Mary also verify the stormwater concept.
Okay,
That's it.
so short of any other outstanding items, is the board ready for a resolution on this one?
I'd like to see how the responses come back. These are pretty significant comments.
Okay.
That was our thought too, is there's still a lot of outstanding significant comments.
All right. So once we've addressed that, then we can go ahead and advance this, review the comments and advance the resolution further. So I think without that, we'll hold off doing that and move forward at the next meeting once you've submitted all of your responses.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
And a most update revised plan.
Yeah.
That would be great. That addresses all of that.
Right, and it should be indicating location of the tank and some other questions that I'm sure that you're aware of from the last meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
All right. That's all we got.
All right. I'm also up here for the Phoenix Mills.
Oh,
Yep.
well, coincidentally, that's the next one.
Yes.
Yeah, so moving on to number 3, Phoenix Mill Plaza Shed. An application for applicants requesting approval to construct 12 by 20 foot storage shed to be located in the back of the existing building behind Otto Tomatoes Restaurant. This is 300 Phoenix Mills Plaza. Applicants also requesting approval for string lighting on a pergola that received an area variance on December 2nd, 2024. And last we discussed, I think the owner was going to put up the lights so we could take a look. I don't recall seeing that.
I'm in charge of the lights.
I'm sorry. Yeah, just state your name for the record.
Colleen Harvey.
So you did or did not yet?
Yes, the lights were up.
Oh,
They have been unplugged since Saturday because I was working in the garden and unplugged them. And when you plug them in, you have to turn them back on. And it was the middle of the afternoon, and it goes 6 hours from there, so I didn't plug them back.
oh, you have them on a
But they
six.
were up for 2 weeks. Well,
Oh,
Anybody
because
see them?
the idea was to let us know so we could go look at them. So-
my sister let whoever, Lisa?
She would be the one.
Was to let you know that they were
No, I did clarify with her yesterday. I asked her what the time they were going to be on and when they were turned off. She said they turn off at 10:30, and we have asked some code officers if they've seen the lights on. So I don't know how hard it is to see them during the day, but
You wouldn't be able to see them during the
Yeah,
day.
the idea is to see what kind of distracting glare there could be there. And I believe Joe was one of the ones that,
Definitely can't see them during the day. When
Yeah.
my daughter and I hung them up, we were like, are they even on? So it's not bright during the day.
okay, well, for sure, that wouldn't be an issue as much as it would be a distraction potential at night. So that's what we wanted to see, and then we could comment on them and advance the application. So, all right, well, that's one piece of it. Thanks.
Additionally, Phoenix Most Plaza would like to erect a 20-foot by 12-foot shed in the rear of the building. I believe we had discussed this at a couple of meetings ago as well. I don't think there were any questions, but I will ask the board again if they have any additional.
I believe one of the comments was regarding the location of the shed in the back. Is that going to obstruct the ability, or is it going to cause any vehicles driving back their delivery trucks or otherwise to have to deviate around or sort of weave through the back of the site there? Because there's another shed on the south side of that drive.
Right.
So-
Yes, there is about 25 feet of clearance between those two sheds.
Okay.
Should be more than enough
And
space.
if I'm not mistaken, Codes looked at it as well. Keith? Yeah,
and the fire marshal did too.
okay.
And it's okay with the floodplain manager? Okay,
Yeah.
one person.
Well, no comments there. So, hey, Scott, any other questions for the applicant?
Not on that, no.
Okay.
Do we still have to see the lights? I haven't seen the lights.
Yeah.
I've driven by.
If we're going to comment on them, you should be looking at them. It'd be typical for a site walk, but you can't do that except at night. So we can certainly look at those in the coming week.
Okay.
Trish, any questions?
No other additional questions.
Okay. Now,
No, no questions.
Okay.
comments.
so,
I'd like to see the lights on.
okay. This is an open public hearing, unlike the last two. So is there anyone here who has a question for the applicant regarding this? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll move.
Al moves.
Second.
For seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Public hearing's closed. I think the only thing we have left is really to look at the glare issue of those lights and the proximity to Route 96, which you understand. So, I mean, we could advance the first part of it or just wait.
Yeah, it's both in the resolution.
So if you're okay with waiting until we get a chance to see that, I'm sure Lisa can put you on the next meeting as long as the lights are going to be on in the evening, so we can take a look at them.
Okay.
Yeah, so if will they be on during the day and just stay on and shut off at 10:30?
I mean, we can get
If you step up to the microphone a little bit more,
sorry.
it's
We
okay.
could get a timer, but right now, what they are is when you plug them in, turn them on, and they stay on for 6 hours, and then they're off for 18, then they come back on.
Okay.
So if I go out there now and plug them in, I think, do you know when the lights go off at the plaza? I want to say it's midnight.
If you plug it in at 7, it's going to turn off at 1. If you're talking 6 hours,
Yeah.
that's kind of late.
So, yeah, but if I plug it in at 5 or 6, then, they'll be off when the plaza lights go
Or
off.
you could put a timer that goes just to those times that,
We could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But until you approve it, I don't want
Yeah.
to pay for a timer.
and that's fine. Just know that probably the resolution will show that on during business hours and off afterwards.
Mhm.
So if that works for you, that they're on from 5 to 11 or whatever the business hours are
Yes.
ending, then fine, but
Yep,
it might make sense once we approve it to switch that out for
right.
your energy convenience.
And the thing is, I live in Arundequoit on the lake, so, and I work evenings. I just happen to have tonight off, so I can't come out,
Sure.
and plug them in at a decent time. So, and my sister was working tonight, so she couldn't come, but, yeah. So just let me know
Okay,
what time you want them plugged in.
I would suggest plugging them in at
5?
5 o'clock. It'll be done at 11. That'll give everyone a chance in the evening after dusk to take a look at them.
Okay, make my sister do that.
Okay. So if your sister can let Lisa know that she's finished setting it up that way, great.
Yep.
And we'll have a
Okay.
chance to look at it, and we'll get you on the next meeting for final approval.
Okay,
Okay?
yep, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, members of the board.
You're welcome. TNT Fireworks Tent is the next item. This is an open public hearing as well. 6 Commerce Drive, applicants requesting approval to set up a 20 by 40 foot tent to operate a retail sale of sparkler products for the 4th of July holiday from June 20th to July 5th. Operating hours will be from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. Good evening.
Hi, I'm Amanda Gump with TNT Fireworks. I did hear you mention 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. I do know that that has been a stipulation that we've changed in the past from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., so we are absolutely happy to do that, to keep with what we typically have been. There will be a storage container on property to secure everything in the overnight hours, and we do also have fire extinguishers as well as water cans there during the time period.
And this is the same location, right adjacent to Harbor Freight?
It is,
correct?
yes.
Yeah. And that was last year as well, I think? Or
The
was it
year
before?
prior, yeah, they were doing the construction last year.
Right. Okay. All right. Any questions? Scott?
This one seems familiar, so I don't have any questions. I think things have gone well so far, so just keep doing what you've been doing.
Thank you.
Trish?
So for the storage, what specifically, how do you store the fireworks at night?
So we have a 20-foot metal storage locker,
Okay.
and then there's a security lock that goes on the front of it, as well as additional locks for just added security, and they're just secured in there overnight hours.
And it said that, I think I read that it had, when it says security or secure 24/7, that's what, when you're saying security, you're meaning the being in the metal box is part of that security, not actual security individuals there, correct?
Correct. So in the overnight hours, yes, it would be secured within that container. During the daytime hours, there will be staff on site.
Okay.
Yeah, so they don't ever leave the property when the product is exposed.
And as far as purchasing, I'm assuming, and you've been here for several years, so I'm sure you have a system, but for age restrictions and,
Absolutely. It's 18 or older in the state of New York. There is signage put out regarding that, and then IDs are checked as well.
oh, okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Al?
No questions.
Joe?
So I drove by over the weekend, and there's a half a dozen big roll-off dumpsters going to be gone by then. I'm
I hope
assuming.
so. It's
I
not
will,
yours.
I will touch base with Benderson and make sure
Yeah.
that that happens. Thank you.
Yeah, there were 2 there, and then a couple days later, they'd added at least 2 more.
Okay.
So I saw the same thing, and it's kind of
And this
where
is-
your 20-foot box is shown on the
Okay.
image, so it's right along that back row.
Perfect. I will touch base with them
Yeah.
for sure to make sure that happens.
Okay?
Thank you.
And I think this is probably a good location for you. This is how many years you've been there now? 4th or 5th, maybe?
I've been with the company 6 years, so 5 of those 6, we weren't there last year because of the construction, but
And
this
it
would
seems
be,
to have gone very well.
yeah, we enjoy it there.
Thank you.
Another question, with
Yes,
it
ma'am.
being the 250-year anniversary, are you anticipating increase in sales, and are you going to be planning for that, I'm assuming?
We do, we're hopeful.
Yeah.
Yes, so we are planning for an increase in that. We've increased staffing to
Yeah.
make sure that that is something that is taken into consideration as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also have no other questions. Wes, I assume that there's nothing that you needed to comment on?
Not in terms of a application review standpoint, but I was just going through the draft resolution and a couple of the ongoing conditions, one of which the applicant did mention that the hours of operation from June 20th to July 5th be 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then that number 7, that there be a limit of 2 signs on the tent and shall be compliant with town code. Or 2 signs on the tent, yeah, that's, in the 2 signs, that's consistent with what has.
It's been done in the past,
In the
yeah,
past,
right.
yeah. Okay, that's all I've got.
Okay.
So 2 signs you guys are good with,
We're,
Yeah.
the board? Okay.
Yeah, we're fine with that.
Okay.
Make sure that she understands what that means, so.
absolutely.
In the past, you
Now,
guys have done 2, so.
previously, there has been an allowance for the road signs to be pushed into the ground as long as they're removed in the evening hours. Is that still acceptable?
Is that like a little flag or something, or?
They're just short ones, maybe waist high, that just push into the dirt and then they come out and can get stored overnight hours.
How many of them would you propose, or have there been?
I'm not exactly positive how many they've done in the past. If we could do 2, that way we can have them at the intersection where the light is there to direct traffic in.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have an ongoing conditions, number 1, that any temporary signage be removed from the site entrance during non-business hours and shall not be placed within the State Route 96 right-of-way per town code. So take a look at the site and make sure that you're just outside the right-of-way
Absolutely.
line. So this would be at the right in, right out entrance, right by your tent there?
I was thinking more towards the, where the light is, leading into the Walmart
Oh, okay,
area there,
yeah.
on opposite sides, so that way people coming from this direction, because they can't turn in,
Mm-hmm.
then they can go, apology, go into the, that further entrance there off of the Walmart entrance.
Okay. And was that 2 signs then?
Please?
I guess it's a difficult spot from those going, I'll call it southbound on 96, because you're right, they have to get to the light and turn. Coming the other direction, you hope to use the right in, right out.
Yes.
So, unless they're going back out to the thruway or something. Yeah, I
The
don't,
Officer can always,
Yeah.
I know that they've done it before, and he
Mhm.
was fine, and that
Yeah.
they come out, but
I don't have a
check
problem with it.
him
It's,
when you get
you know,
ready to put it in.
Perfect.
I'd rather not have people miss it and have to figure out some gymnastics to get back there. So, okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Board's okay with that, I assume? All right. Says open public hearing. Anyone wish to ask questions or comment on this application? Going once? Thrice. Okay. Motion for,
I'll move.
Al moves to close the public hearing.
Second.
Trish seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I will advance this resolution then. Whereas the planning board made the following findings of fact. A site plan and special use permit application was received on May 20th, 2026 from Tailored Tent Rentals, the applicant, by the Secretary of the Planning Board for a site plan entitled TNT Fireworks Tent, known as the project. There are 10 total whereases here. Resolved that the application of American Promotional Events received by the Planning Board May 20th, 2026, Planning Board Site Plan Application 14 SB 2026, and Special Use Application 5 SU 2026 be approved with the following conditions. Conditions to be addressed prior to Chairman's signature on the site plan. 1 is standard. Number 2, that the comments from the Code Enforcement Officer dated June 1st, 2026 be addressed. Ongoing conditions. 1, that a peddler's solicitor's license be obtained from the town clerk prior to erecting the tent and sales. Number 2, that if peddler's solicitor's license is suspended, the tent will be removed at the owner's expense within 10 days. Number 3, that hours of operation from June 20th to July 5th be 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Number 4, that the site plan approval will be rescinded within 10 days of the filing of a formal complaint to the Code Enforcement Officer if said complaint is not resolved within that 10-day period. Number 5, that in the event lighting is desired, it will need to be code compliant and possibly be required to be reviewed by the Planning Board. I don't recall you had lighting in the past.
No, there's no outside lighting. There is a string of lights inside just in case the weather turns or something like that, but nothing on the outside.
Okay. Kind of hard to see what you're doing at 9 o'clock at night sometimes. So let's see, number 6, any temporary signage be removed from the site entrance during non-business hours and shall not be placed within the State Route 96 right-of-way per town code. Number 7, that there be a limit of 2 signs on the tent and shall be compliant with town code. And be it further resolved that the Planning Board Secretary distribute the Planning Board's approval letter. So with those adjustments, do I hear a motion?
I'll move.
Al moves.
Second.
And Joe seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried 5-0.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Party on. Okay, as I said, number 5 is off the agenda, Mortorello site plan. Number 6, Lehigh Place Plan Development District preliminary and final subdivision. This is an open public hearing. 200 Victor Heights Parkway, owner Auburn Trail Properties LLC. Tax map 15-2-14-210. Applicants requesting approval to subdivide a 24.154 parcel into 3 lots. Lot 1 will consist of the FLCC building on 6.654 acres. Lot 2 is the proposed apartment buildings on 14.202 acres, and Lot 3 will consist of the TLC daycare on 3.298 acres. This is the second and third step of a major subdivision. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Cole Papasergi. I'm with Marathon Engineering. With me today is Mark DeFelice and Jerry Goldman. We're here today to provide a refresher for Lehigh Place, a residential community. It's been about over 6 months since we were last before the board for this. We were here for preliminary overall and final site plan approval. And we had a discussion about seeker, to refresh the board's memory, and Labella had provided their comments shortly after that meeting. One of the reasons we were tabled were because of wetlands. The state DEC had changed the regulations, and we had missed the grandfathering window by a couple weeks, having us have to go through another wetland process before we would have everything squared away. Those regulations have now been voided due to a DEC seeker issue, which reverts it back to just how it was before. So they're still regulated, it's just the old way of doing it, which is how we were prepared to at that time. We have approved JDs, with federal JDs for those wetlands. So just a quick summary again on this. It's a 3-lot subdivision, and it's the second part of a PDD process. The first part was approved by the town board of the rezoning, where it separated out this piece here and proposes to place 3 4-story, 52-unit each apartment buildings, amenities, clubhouse, dog park, a pool, and amenities like that, landscaping, lighting, and I'll save the long spiel because I know I provided that at the last meeting, but if there's any questions on utilities or how that's being addressed, I'm happy to answer those. We have provided comment or response to Labella's comments with this last update. So with that, I think I'll open it up to any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you. This is an open public hearing as well, so we'll give those in the audience an opportunity at the end of our discussions. Al, questions?
I wouldn't say a question as much as a comment.
Okay.
Again, we've had the discussion about this particular application over an extended period of time, and personally not a proponent of establishing a PDD for this location, because it appears as though its primary, maybe exclusive purpose was to just maximize the density on the property versus multi-dwelling. So, and I believe that it's too much density for that particular location is a general principle. But other than that, I don't have any other specifics on the site plan.
Okay, Joe?
So when this first came before us, quite a few of the board members were opposed to the density, particularly 4 stories versus 3. And I do have a question now that there's a PDD established. Is that mandating 4 stories, or is it up to 4 stories?
The way I've read the regulations is that the town board mandated that the particular height and the density, the number of units. I think the PDD does indicate that the density shall be, is it 160?
150 units?
156 units.
56.
Any thoughts on the basis for their going contrary to what we were thinking?
I don't have anything right off the top of my head.
I'm curious
Yeah.
why the increased density would be appropriate for the site.
Yeah.
We'd have to revisit, or at least visit their meeting minutes to see what the discussion centered around.
Mhm.
I think some of,
And that's all I've got.
yeah, I mean, we are going to go through, I believe, a process to review the detailed impacts to the site.
Okay.
I'll reserve my comments until everyone else has had a chance to, but anything else, Joe?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, Scott?
I guess last I remember, maybe we were talking about seeker and whether seeker needed to be done on this, and did we do seeker and I missed it, or are we still doing it?
Absolutely, we still have to do seeker on the site plan and subdivision. So purposefully and thoughtfully, the town board did their own seeker review on the rezoning component itself. But as part of that, we didn't have, or the town didn't have, the design plans and the information that's behind the engineering of the project. So for that reason, the town code does permit what we'll call segmentation of the seeker review for the rezoning, the zoning classification change, and then we're going to get into the more substantive review of the environmental impacts of the actual site design.
Okay. One other question I had, I guess, for the applicant is, the wetland regulations, are those the ones that came out in January 2025? Have they changed then? Where you have to ask for a JD, or what changed in the regs? I guess I'm not familiar with it.
Mr. Goldman?
If I may, I'll do it briefly. There was a challenge to the regulations that were implemented by the state, and the state Supreme Court in Albany voided the new regulations. DEC decided, and oddly enough, the reason why they did was that they said that DEC did not comply with seeker. They said their seeker review was inadequate, which is one of the great ironies of our time. But for what it's worth, DEC has decided not to appeal that decision, and has said that until they come up with new regulations and/or complete seeker on a reissue of the regulations that were voided, that the old regulations are in place, and that means that we don't have the extensive review which would have occurred. We're now down to, as far as state regulation, land acreage, which is in excess of 12 acres, contiguous acres of wetland, and it also imposed a 100-foot buffer on any wetland area, which the federal regulations do not require. So to that extent, we've had a discussion with town staff relative to this, and we're back where we were, in 2024, actually.
Wow. Well, I appreciate that explanation. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jared. Anything else, Scott?
No, that's all I have.
No.
So part of the review of this site, and one of the concerns about density is the town has some pretty significant infrastructure that was constructed along the corridor for the sanitary sewer line, multiple pump stations, and I don't believe that the design of that system, and we'll have to get into this from the professionals that know this, but I don't believe that the system necessarily can handle another 150 housing units on the line without some significant, I'll call them upgrades, to one or more pump stations, and that may, work within that corridor. You got 2 car washes now along there that weren't there a couple of years ago. So one of my biggest concerns is, what is this going to do to the infrastructure? And we'll ferret this out, I think, when we go through the seeker process. So that's one element. Most of us on the board, I think, were concerned about 4 stories there instead of 3. 4 stories is well above what we would have normally put in a residentially zoned subdivision. But the town board in its decision went with a 4-story max building. So there will be some good conversations, I think, certainly thorough conversation, investigation into all the impacts of this site, much of which I believe is going to center around infrastructure, personally speaking. So,
Won't be talking much about that. I think Cole and Wes will be doing the heavy lifting relative to
If you could
determining whether we have, I know Cole's here, relative to the infrastructure and infrastructure demands. So we will finalize that.
Mhm.
I think Wes was being rather kind in terms of dealing with seeker. The town code does mandate a separate process. It's not that there was opted to say, okay, we'll do seeker for just the PDD and then seeker for this. We are told that we can't put in at application detailed plans because they don't want to see it. They want to ensure that that segmentation process is pure and doesn't really bleed. So the issues that they dealt with under seeker. And as the board recalls, the board did review the application on the way in on the PDD, and there were, I believe, 11 factors under the code to be reviewed, and that report did go back to the town board in advance of their decision.
thank you.
And if I may, at that time, there was a rezoning report that was provided to the town that included a lot of those factors, traffic.
Could you speak up a little? That's
Sorry. There was a rezoning report provided to the town board and I believe the planning board as well, that had a lot of those factors, traffic, et cetera, for the board's consideration at that time when it was approved on the first round. And then for the infrastructure, that was also one of Wes's comments, and I know there's some final analysis that Wes has noted to provide to us, but we have had preliminary conversations about what those upgrades might be.
Yeah, I'd be happy to speak to some of those for sanitary sewer. So in let's see, where's my letter here? Labella issued a letter on, where the heck is, that's interesting. In December of
2025.
Yeah, December 2025, right? So we did comment on pump stations 27 and 30. So we had done some flow monitoring in October of last year, right? And that gave us some data. And we understood at that point that the available capacity for pump stations 27 and pump station 30, the flows from this project are from 156 units, would require, let's see, what is it, 587 gallons per minute? And I think the available capacity was 430 gallons per minute in each of those pump stations, or roundabout there. So there's an exceedance of the capacity. So we talked about potentially doing belts and sheaves as improvements to those pump stations that would accommodate all of the flows from this project and restore some reserve capacity. However, we would like to do, and we have been doing, some additional monitoring of flows from tributary areas, and I think we need to add those into this October evaluation just to double check our figures. And I'd be happy to show a map if Susie would be so kind as to switch screens for me, just to give you guys an idea of where the flows are headed. So what you're seeing here is kind of a zoom in on the town, a portion of the town. This red dot here is the project location, right? And you'll see this pink line that kind of traverses in a diagonal direction that heads over this way. the sewer treatment plant is over here on McMahon Road on the right side. So these flows are going to gravity to pump station 27, which is over here by the Pinnacle Athletic Campus, right? And then they're going to be pumped along the Auburn Trail to PS 30, and these are the two pump stations that we were looking at that are going to be impacted by this project. And 30 pumps its flows all the way to a manhole at the intersection of Route 96 and McMahon Road, which then is gravitated to the wastewater treatment plant. So these are the two pump stations we're concerned about with this particular project. So tributary to PS 27, PS 28 conveys its flows to PS 27. And we've been doing some additional monitoring here at PS 28, which is where the two car washes are located, Delta Sonic and Go Car Wash. And then we've also got the Highline Park project, which would also convey its flows to PS 27. So it's an evolving, it's something that we have to continually monitor. So I think we'll have some additional information to help support or, the finding that we made back in December, or if for some reason we find something different because of the new monitoring at PS 28, we can provide that to you. So that's kind of, that gives you an idea of how the sewage is being handled from this project. Thanks, Susie.
This is a public hearing. If no one else has any questions or comments for the applicant at the moment, I'll open up the floor if there's anyone interested. The application will remain as an open public hearing through the seeker process, so there will be other opportunities to address the board and the applicant with any questions that may arise between now and then. But is there anyone here this evening that has any questions? Step right up to the microphone, name and address, and your question.
My name is Ken Orlando, 1067 Donald Circle. Thank you for allowing me to come in. I do just wonder who would pay for the pump station if they needed to be upgraded on this particular project.
Usually the applicant does upgrades that may be, or contributes towards the cost of upgrades. That's happening at Eastview Mall right now. Wes, if you want to expand on that.
Yeah, oftentimes if there's a need to improve a pump station, the developer would pay that cost. There's also a sewer connection fee that applicants pay to catch up to what maybe they would have paid had a project been there over the past 10 years since the sewer district was consolidated and formed. Now we're going beyond 10 years, though. It's probably getting up to 15 years or so. So there's also a sewer catch-up fee that they would have to pay.
Thank you. I have an additional question. You were mentioning the third and fourth floor.
It's a four-story building, apartment building application.
Is that still consideration for the fourth? In the fourth?
It's what's been applied for right now, yes.
Okay. Thank you for clarification. For the record, I object to the fourth one. I agree with the density for the record, and I think a lot of people here do as well. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anyone else?
Rick Gino, I live directly across from this on a 22-acre parcel with my wife. A lot of concerns about this proposal. So the obvious things are that it exceeds the sewer capacity. I guess you have addressed traffic issues at another meeting. However, on that section of Route 251, Victor Heights, directly across from our driveway, it doesn't seem logical that it can handle that much additional traffic. 157 units. How many cars? We all need a car to live out here. The other concern is both with the height. The fourth story just seems me that it creates something that is inconsistent with the entire Route 251 corridor. It's too high. I don't see by the pictures that I have seen here where there is adequate parking. Now, there may be, I don't know, that would be a question. Is there adequate parking? And what kind of lighting is going on to facilitate that parking lot? So the parking, the traffic, being beyond capacity of the current sewer system in a growing area. And I've heard nothing about any screening in front along 251. Again, I may have missed that somewhat, place along the line.
All this will go into our review.
Yeah.
You certainly make valid points.
And I'm curious as to at what point is it required that DEC application be made? Because I understand there is not one at this time.
Which,
Could you clarify your question?
Yes.
DEC application?
I understand that the town has submitted to the DEC some preliminary paperwork on this proposed project. But I believe there is an application that is required, and that has not been made yet.
So I'm not aware of any application that's required to go to the DEC. Now, the town staff did forward to the DEC, my
Right.
understanding, a seeker lead agency coordination request, right? Because this project has to go through its own seeker process, which is the environmental review process, to assess the environmental impacts of the project. So the planning board has requested to be the lead agency, right, to make a determination as to whether or not there's going to be a significant adverse environmental impact. My understanding is that there aren't any involved or interested agencies that have objected to the Town of Victor Planning Board being lead agency. As far as the DEC goes with regard to wetlands, as the applicant has stated, they don't need to get an updated jurisdictional determination from DEC because the wetland regulations that came into effect in January 2025 have been voided, right? So they do have a JD from New York State DEC on wetlands that was given prior to January 1st, 2025. Does that help answer your question?
It does to an extent, thank you.
Okay.
Again, I guess I would just summarize that this requires a zoning change, and in a community that there's nothing like it there. It's not contiguous. It's not, someone used the term an eyesore, can be an eyesore, no matter how luxurious it is, it can be an eyesore. Without proper screening, without consideration for additional traffic flow in and out of that facility. The one road that I see, the Victor Heights Road, services also the other light industrial properties back there. And it seems an inordinate amount of additional traffic for a small area. So that would be it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So would it be helpful just to explain to the audience where we are in the process?
Sure.
Briefly?
Yeah. You want
I'd be happy to
to
do
jump into
that.
there, Wes?
So it may have been in 2024 or maybe early 2025 when the developer and the applicant submitted or petitioned the town board, right? local legislative body, not this board, they petitioned the town board to amend the zoning district classification. So I think it was previously zoned as a light industrial zoning classification. The applicant petitioned the town board to seeking a planned development district zoning designation, right? So the town board referred that application, that rezoning application, to the planning board for a recommendation, to which the planning board provided a recommendation to the town board. Subsequently, the town board, the legislative body, did rezone the property. So the property has been rezoned to a planned development district. And that was step one of this process, right? Currently, we're in step two. The PDD process is a two-step process. Step two is where the planning board kind of digs in, and that's the meat and the potatoes of the review of the site plan and the subdivision application. We get into the engineering review. We take a look at the environmental impacts, including traffic. I think that's a very valid point, very good concern that the planning board needs to take into consideration when deliberating on this project. Traffic, utilities, impacts to wildlife, impacts to the Auburn Trail, which is immediately, or maybe it's the Lehigh Valley Trail. I can't remember which one it is, but so we've got to take those into consideration. The planning board has not completed the environmental review process, so there's more work to be done here at this level before the planning board makes a determination with regard to the environmental impacts and a decision on the site plan application. So there's still more work to go. Does that help?
Yeah, actually, that was good. Thank you, Wes.
Yep.
There's actually two pieces to this on the agenda tonight. One is for the one we're on, which is the preliminary and final subdivision PDD, and the other one is the site plan. We're kind of treating this, I believe, as one discussion. So if there's anything else that we need to deal with regarding the site plan itself, any comments the board would have questions on, now would be a good time. Again, it's an open public hearing, so we'll have a chance for the public to revisit it.
I guess the one comment that I wanted to make is relative to the 4 stories. I think there is a building that might be similar to the one proposed over by Locust Hill Country Club on Jefferson. I think I saw a 4-story unit go up, and
There's one in the village also that was just put up, right?
oh, that's right. Yeah, I
School
forgot about
Street
that.
and Rawson.
So we have some examples for scale purposes, I guess.
Yeah, and that was a village application and approval, not a town. So, and it wasn't light and, well, it could have been light industrial. I'm not sure what the zoning was of that because it's in the village. So if you're looking for an example of the view, that's the closest local one I can think of is on School Street at Rawson. So unless there's anything else, we could wrap up this discussion. Move on. Any objections? Okay. So, as I suspect most of you are here for, number 8, Nouveau Rise, preliminary subdivision.
Resolution for the secret lead agency. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So, this is also a public hearing, 973 Brownsville Road, owner Morel Team. In motion, RKH Golf Inc. Applicants requesting approval to construct a 74-lot clustered subdivision on a 158.2-acre parcel that includes 3 parcels. And we've seen this preliminary once before, so good evening.
Hi, good evening. I'm Carly Moynihan with Morel Builders in support. Billerino, Billerino and Richard Teedy. And we've also got Cole Papasariki from Marathon Engineering for support. But tonight we wanted to share our plans for the Nouveau Rise community. And we've honored your comments and concerns from our last meeting back on March 10th. So we made some adjustments with your feedback in mind. Before we get into the overview of our changes, updates, and all that, I kind of wanted to give a refresh on what the community is all kind of get into our mission and our vision briefly. Just our mission is to create a thoughtfully planned neighborhood with the respects to Victor's natural landscape. We want to preserve the green space that is there, and we want to deliver well-crafted homes that are arranged to foster connection, livability, and long-term value, really to support the town of Victor's long-term vision for responsible and well-balanced residential growth. And within that, the vision that we brought into the branding as well of Novarise will be very nature forward. We want it recognized for its timeless design, environmental stewardship, and we want to showcase a welcoming neighborhood spirit. We want families to be able to grow there, neighborhoods to evolve, and neighbors to connect. It's truly designed for multi-generational living, young professionals, and families, and really built for connectivity, comfortability, and community. And so I'll hand it over to Bill Areno.
Thank you. Just wanted to hit a couple points, and we didn't want to do our full presentation. I want to move through this because you've heard it all on March 10th. Just to highlight again, we've taken, actually reduced down the acreage for conservation easement and open space down to 94 acres of preserved green space and 87 acres of conservation easement. Again, we're located on trying to maximize the home sites on the area that was already disturbed, basically the farmland, and conserve any of the green space, treed areas, and space that you would want to hold on to. Building area is positioned to minimize the view from Brownsville Road and the main traffic in through there. We have taken into consideration some of the points on the March 10th meeting, and so have revised the plan with some very important points. Wanted to honor what your input was. And basically, one of the big things was some irregularly shaped lots or irregular shaped lots, and also the size of those sites. Those sites were, we came in, and I know, Al, you brought up the point of 65-foot wide lots. I mentioned what we had done in Honey Eye Falls, and we were very successful there. But what rang true is the fact that side-load garages, the difference in the look. So we went away and redesigned this entire project. Now everything at the setback, or at the pad, is at 75 feet. So we widened out to 75 feet. We also had concern, you had concern about the backyard, usability of the backyard. So we went from 150 to 170. That's how we eliminated some conservation easement. So, and then just some of the sites that were very unique on the corners. We've given gracious spacing to the corner sites so that they give the customer much more usability in the backyards. And kind of with the size, it creates opportunity for architectural diversity with side-load garages, maybe even some front setback changes so that you don't have the same look across the front of the neighborhood. One of the other things that was important to the board, I think, Wes, you mentioned this, the distance, the conservation easement that is on Ozano Circle. They have a 50-foot conservation easement, so we did match that. We came in, I think, originally with our plan at 25 feet, so we matched it. So there's 50 feet of conservation easement. So overall, there's 100 feet in between the two properties. And also, I misspoke last time. I didn't think there was many trees and brush there, but there is. We went back out there and walked it. So that 50 feet on our property is going to conserve some trees. There's always an opportunity to add some more to that, but there is some substantial growth that does give some separation between the neighborhoods. I think the other thing was we adjusted the northwest, we moved the stub road that we will be creating to the north. We moved it all the way up to the northwest corner. It eliminated some kind of funky sites. So we had some lots in there that just didn't work very well. So we moved that all the way up so that connectivity, potential future development, it would work a little bit better in that location. And more squared up home sites as well. I think that was everything that, that the board pointed out last time that we tried to adjust to. I'll let Cole answer some questions on the next slide here.
Hello again, Cole Papasergi, Marathon Engineering. One of the things that the planning board had asked at our last meeting was to take a look at a secondary connection for the site based on some things heard from the residents. And what you should have received also, not only showing up here on the slide, but in your packets, was a sketch that kind of details this. But this is a look at the slopes in the area on Brownsville Road. So to do a secondary connection analysis, we're looking mainly at our frontage. So we only have really frontage on Brownsville Road and Azano Circle. And keep in mind when you're looking at this that there is a remoteness criteria for a secondary connection to meet fire code. It's got to be so far away from the other connection it has. So we're really looking at the south side of Brownsville Road and the site. And what this map is showing is slopes over 20% and then even darker at 25%. And you can see just the level of where these steep slopes are on the site, and that is something that the town comprehensive plan wants us to, avoid. And it's something that is hard to develop in anyways. So as you can see, the top of the site, the north side of the site, that kind of skirts those kind of steep slopes. We also have a ravine, about a 30-foot ravine here. That's got a little stream in it, another 30-foot ravine over here, and about 60 feet of grade change from Brownsville Road to here. So it would be a significant amount of cut, over 40 feet of earthwork cut to put in a road at the town's design criterias. It would be an undertaking for sure, prohibitively expensive.
We've walked, every square inch of that property, and there's substantial tree growth with those grades. I'm not sure if you mentioned that. Just wanted to add that it is very heavily treed. There's a little meadow in the center of it, but that's about it.
Thank you. I believe one of the residents sent an aerial with an alternative access drive, which I believe starts right near the end of this cul-de-sac and goes straight down. And that's exactly where you're talking about a significant incline that physically wouldn't be feasible to do that. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it would be. It's engineering-wise, it would be a massive undertaking.
That's true. Yeah, the natural resources also would discourage that type of extensive earthwork, and probably the roadway would be so steep, way past 10%, to get up that hill.
Right. So
it wouldn't be feasible for a transportation perspective. So I'm trying to address some of the public's comments that we've seen in the letters, and we do read them all. And I'll give you all a chance to come up to the microphone and ask questions in a few minutes. So keep that thought. Okay. So.
If I may.
Go ahead, Joe.
When Azana Circle went in, it seems to me that there was a lot of dirt moved coming up off a plaster mill to accommodate the grade there. And that was before my time on the board.
Yeah.
Do we have any recollection about comparisons of grades?
Well, there were 3 different schemes, actually 4, the final one, all of which required a significant amount of earthwork to get that site dressed up. This one is such a drastic grade change in a short amount of space that it's really not a feasible alternative to get it in there. And I'll let the engineers deal with that, but.
So it's not really apples to apples?
Correct.
And we ended up, I think it was a 10% grade.
Yeah, and Al and I were both on the board at that time, so, yeah. So was there another question you had, Joe?
No, that's good.
Okay. Sorry, you can continue.
We just wanted to share a rendering of what the front entrance, the concept of what it would look like too, from Brownsville Road. As you can see, the homes are set back quite a ways at the entrance. This is where we would begin phasing the construction as well. So naturally screened from Brownsville Road. And then, we'll take over. with the-
So we've been working, obviously, very excited about this site. I mentioned that last time. It's an ideal situation from preserving the open space, the green space. And one of the positives about the neighborhood is we're working with the Genesee Land Trust and donating the extra space, the open space that we're putting the conservation easement on, and creating trails that the public would be able to enjoy through those spaces. That is still ongoing, so it could be privately owned by one of the landowners, but I think we're hoping that the Genesee Land Trust. We walked back there, and there's some public trails that we can get right down to the creek. That creek back there is absolutely gorgeous. So, and this just kind of gives you an idea of what the neighborhood, what we'd like the neighborhood to look like, with a little more spacing between the sites. As I showed you in the past, I think our design is a little narrower than what your conventional plans have been over the last 20, 30 years. But most builders are going to this type of design on this price point of a home. And it works very well. I'm not sure if you had a chance to get down to our Wolfsburger Park neighborhood down in Honey Eye Falls, but similar concept to that, especially the section we're putting in right now. So a lot of diversity in the housing. Miss anything there?
So. Yeah, we wanted to thank you for your consideration, and we're excited about this community and hope we can work with you to make it happen.
Thank you.
Yep.
So does the board have any questions for the applicant, or I'll give Wes an opportunity also to comment? So.
No, I would just say that at least an attempt was made to address the concerns voiced at one of our earlier meetings.
Yeah, okay.
I don't have any comments.
Trish? Okay. Wes? Oh, I thought you did.
So,
Sorry.
looking at the fire department's comments requiring the two means of access, when Lozano Circle was built, St. John's Parkway should have come through. So how was that resolved relative to the fire code? And because there's St. John's Circle, there's just now, or Parkway is a loop. It's just a one access point.
Yeah. I'd have to dive into the meeting minutes for that one.
Is that pathway access for the fire service?
No,
or
there's no access through there unless, I mean, they don't plow it in the wintertime. They don't maintain it for truck use across there. I think you can get maintenance vehicles perhaps, but that's it. I don't know whether there was a,
So Camden does have two entrances out on Lionel.
yeah, that's right.
And I believe the state fire code, I think it was in the fire marshal's comments, if you have 30 or more homes, you need two entrances. Azano only has 28. That's how Azano was able to get away with that.
Part of that also for Azano was, as I recall, it was beyond the 25 maximum for a cul-de-sac. And the future availability of that stub road to an adjacent through to Brownsville, potentially, was a mitigating factor in allowing for additional homes on that cul-de-sac beyond what's required by the town code. Fire code may be 30, but the town code is 25. So that's why the Azano Circle subdivision, Tuscany Hills, was approved for that number of homes based on that stub road being linked to a future subdivision and out to Brownsville. So that's the basis for how that was approved. as well.
My second question then is, the applicant has submitted one traffic study, and then one of the residents submitted another set of data based on another study matrix. So they're at odds.
Yeah,
So
there was
I
a
would-
couple of hundred vehicles difference between
Yeah,
the two,
so
as I recall.
I would look for some clarity on how much traffic are we looking at?
And that would be part of our seeker review, is traffic impacts to both neighborhoods with the through connection and, well, of course, all the other environmental elements as well.
And tonight, we're just establishing the board
Yeah.
as the lead agency for seeker, correct?
Yeah, so for everyone's understanding, this is a seeker lead agency coordination resolution that we have for us this evening. It does not in any way approve what's in front of us. It allows the town planning board to declare itself as a lead agency and solicit interest of any other involved or interested agencies to voice interest in or not that process. And after 30 days, I believe, of response time, if no one objects, then the town planning board would take lead agency and we would perform a detailed review. And that's all we're doing tonight. We are certainly open to comments from the public. I just wanted to say it certainly was good that we got as many letters as we did from your community. We read them all. I read a couple comments that I took to heart personally, but that's fine. And I think I probably, along with Al, have the most significant background in this particular linkage between the two potential subdivisions. So I'm glad to answer questions as we move along with this process. If there's any comments that anyone wishes to voice this evening, I just ask that you keep your time limits to 3 minutes, and if someone's already said the exact same thing, then if you could just defer for a future meeting with any other questions you may have that maybe weren't posed tonight, and that way we could respect everybody's time with that. So most of the letters had, I don't want to say identical, but the same sentiment and the same concerns and everything else, and we will address every one of those as we go through the seeker process. So with that, I'll open up the floor. Name, address, and if you can limit your comments or questions to 3 minutes, and the developer and/or the board will try to address them either now or in future correspondence. So
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Good evening, board members. Scott Zion, 1077 Azano Circle. The Tuscany Hills neighborhood, tax-paying residents, parents, grandparents, kids, simply ask you to listen, understand, and respect the concerns with Nova Rise. First and foremost, on March 10th planning board meeting, the board, along with Morel, agreed not to use Azano Circle for construction vehicles. It took less than 2 months for a 20-ton excavator to be dropped directly on the stub road.
I'm sorry, drop what?
Dropped on the stub road.
Oh, okay.
In my front yard. There are many reasons we do not want the connection. Based on our experience with St. John's Parkway, we are of the opinion of the new residents wouldn't want the connection either. If Morel is building on 152 acres, there are many other connections available along Brownsville Road. They have that whole path that they're planning on building on. There's many other connections available. Flat connections as well. That being said, we understand the need for emergency access, and we have no issue with a wide walking path, stone road. The chairman even stated on March 10th, his concern was emergency access, and we do agree. We just don't want the additional traffic of a 2-lane road. Additionally, we are not a fan of a cluster development and are confused to why the town would be as well. Concentrating homes less than 20 feet from each other is the same as city living, and there are many surveys, articles with strong opposition to cluster developments and their lack of success. Adding 74 homes with an average household of 3 people, Victor is adding over 200 people within a quarter square mile. The town has yet to address the village traffic, ongoing RG&E issues, or the increased school traffic. Can Brownsville Road, Plaster Mill, Route 96 even handle 200 additional residents? If you've ever tried to take a left from Plaster Mill onto 96, or left onto 96 from McMahon, headed towards Tops, you will understand this concern. Zonal Circle has experienced an excess amount of power outages. When not directly the town's issue, why would the town sign up for something without having RG&E update and fix their infrastructure? News Channel 8 reported this just last week, that there isn't any more room on the grid for additional Ontario County homes. The town should prioritize proper infrastructure before prioritizing a developer trying to make a profit. Regarding safety, the number of household trips per day is 10. Even if half the homes go out Brownsville exit, the other 37 homes will be using a Zonal Circle. That equates to 370 additional cars every day. And if you head to the Village or Farmington, you can probably increase that to 75% of the house exiting out of Zonal. That's 550 cars passing through a Zonal Circle every single day. With that level of increase, the safety numbers dramatically increase from where they are today, and the number of children under the age of 13 living in on a Zonal Circle, the risk is simply not palatable to our current residents. Lastly, if Morel has 152 acres to build on, why do the homes have to be in our backyards? That area behind a couple of the houses, conservation, it's maybe 15 feet wide. It is bare in the winter. A couple of those houses are directly in some of our backyards. Not acceptable. There's multiple access points on Brownsville Road across that 152 acres. Nova Rise and its residents will prefer to be their own community, just as St. John's Parkway is to a Zonal Circle. We are friendly, we walk, we bike, we jog. Neighbors come down back and forth. It's the traffic. Walk, bike, jog from Nova Rise to the Village. That is possible through a walking path. That is connectivity, not adding more roads through existing, established, and happy residential areas. In closing, we simply ask the board members to prioritize their tax-paying citizens and children over a developer trying to maximize their profits. Regarding the gentleman's comment regarding the trees, I already talked about that. There's maybe 15 feet of brush and trees, and we lose trees every single year. They land in our yard, and we're responsible for cleaning them up. And we're not allowed to plant back there, so it gets thinner and thinner every single year. Regarding the one entry, I understand the code on that. It says 30 homes. Ballerina Court is like 70 homes, one entrance. If you're going to establish precedents, follow precedents. Up top in the circle, that was based on precedents, right? All we're asking for you is to follow the precedents on that. Based on these concerned citizens, we don't want the traffic. It's unsafe. Deliveries every single day, trucks coming in and out. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Step right up, name, address.
Sam Dragos, 1085 Azano Circle. To build upon one of the points in regards to the fire code, where Ballerina Core Erica Trail, which is in Victor, New York, that has one entrance, 71 homes, I think by my count. I may have missed one or two. I'd like for a note to be made, an explanation as to why that has one entrance and it's accepted by the fire code. Yeah, Azano Circle is asking for one entrance for this new development to be one entrance in accordance with that fire code. Same fire code as well, too.
I'll add a comment to that because I was aware of that as well. The that entrance and the road section into the first stub up to the new condos or apartments was widened out to allow for passage of vehicles and a significantly wider entry, and I believe there was even an island in the middle. So we certainly...
I think I did notice it on the Google Maps as well, too.
That was a mitigating factor in that one. There's a loop road inside that development, I believe, as well.
So that road was widened just only for emergency vehicles. So
Yeah.
a fire code is a concern. use the same solution. Widen it only for emergency
We would
vehicles.
have to look at that.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, David Patine, 1075 Azano Circle, here with my wife Lisa. Thank you for allowing us to address the board tonight. I find it interesting that Morel Builders appealed to your sense of community when they presented earlier this spring and tonight. Their appeal took little account of the impact on the town of Victor's 10-year-old Azano Circle community, where we all live. It seems as though the purpose of the board is to hear all information relevant to how a project will affect all of the residents of Victor, and then consider the information without prejudging and look for compromise when appropriate. No one is objecting to building Nova Rise. We're just asking to minimize the impact on the established neighboring community of Azano Circle, specifically making the connecting path a path, as was granted between Azano Circle and the St. John's community. We're asking Morel to create a community of respectful neighbors to us. And some of the questions that I had have already been asked, so I'll pass that by, but I was, had a couple more. We talk about vehicle traffic. What we're not talking about yet is the bikes, walkers, joggers, kids on electronic bikes, baby carriages, people walking their dogs. There's so many of those every day down our street, and if you come up and down that street and you notice the curves of it, additional traffic is going to create much more additional risk to all of the people that use that street for walking, biking, jogging, and walking their babies and their dogs. It's going to be very difficult to maintain the safety on that street from all of those people that use it, and it's not just us, it's the St. John's community as well. And I have a major question in my mind about how this is going to affect our property values down the road. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Jessica Booker. I live at 1083 Azano Circle. I'm here on behalf of my community, but I'm primarily here because I'm a mother to 3 young boys, ages 2, 4, and 5. I am the 4th house on the right when you enter the development, and would obviously be directly impacted with additional traffic from a subdivision connection. And if you know boys, you know that they can be wild. While I'm responsible for them and their behaviors at this age, I can't guarantee that they will not go into the road, and they have. And this has already happened a few times. It's terribly scary. But if you've been to Azano Circle, which I believe you have, it's also called Tuscany Hills. And it's called Tuscany Hills for a reason. It is extremely hilly. Our entire driveway sloping down is at an approximate 13% decline right into the road. I know that you had a diagram up about slope, and I know, Joseph, you asked about the slope comparable to Azano's pitch and what the builder had presented. I believe they said that it would, there was trees there, obviously, but that it would also take money to make an additional egress out of the proposed Nova Rise. But I don't think that money is more important than safety. And if you look at the pitch of the entire way down from Azano Circle, I bet it is comparable to what they are proposing right at the end of that cul-de-sac that they have there on the diagram. It was a smaller image that they had up, but I would like to hear what the pitch of the slope is. Even though there's trees there, I understand that. But if that could be an additional egress, or if the primary egress there could be widened to not have vehicular traffic coming through to Azano. It's a safety concern with the numbers that Scott has referenced. I also pulled similar numbers, not even factoring in the household trips that people take in a day for a household, but the deliveries, the meal services, the cleaners, the lawn care companies. It is crazy to think that you should use an existing track of 27 homes to connect to 74 when you have 158 other acres that you can use to establish an extra pathway. So with that said, I appreciate your thoroughness to have this hearing and to allow us to voice these concerns, but I am wondering the process on how then we hear next steps about the traffic studies that are being done and what we can anticipate to hear from the board or from the village. I know we got a postcard. We're all in connection in our community, but how do we hear from you to make sure we don't miss a step or the outcome of their traffic study?
Our planning department puts up all received information up on the website or not? Is that available at the town?
It's
itself?
available at the town. You will not get another postcard for preliminary. The thing is, it will be on the agenda, so if it is tabled, it will be posted through our website, social media. You are more than welcome to come in, look at the plans, look at anything. We don't have the capacity right now to put everything on the website,
Okay.
but it's public knowledge, so you are more than welcome to see what they submit.
Okay, so what's the anticipated timeline for them to complete a traffic study and then have it submitted so that we can look?
I would defer to the applicant. I'm sorry, just step up and answer the question on record, please. Thanks, Chris.
Rich Teedy with Morel Builders. That traffic letter was completed by McFarland Johnson and has been submitted to the town.
Okay. Thank you. Well, there is already a traffic study, and I think that one of the previous speakers mentioned it. But if you want to take a look at it, you can see Lisa at the office.
Certainly. So I understand then that a study has been done, but at what point is a conclusion drawn from that study and then relayed to the public for us to then opine? Or do we not opine after today's hearing?
I mean, it is part of the seeker process that goes into one of the 17 factors of review is traffic, then sewer, then, wetlands, everything that we review under seeker is addressed in that process and will be available.
Yeah, so the applicant did indicate, so there is a McFarland Johnson letter dated May 22nd, 2026 in the project file here at the town. Talks about trip generation, so we at Labella Associates, we are the town engineer, right? So we look out for the town's interests. We are paid by the town, not by the developer. And we evaluate this information and provide feedback to the town planning board so that they can make an educated decision on how to move forward. And traffic is one of those issues that we address in the environmental review portion of the project, right? So there are multiple consulting entities that comment on the plans. You've got code enforcement officer, you've got the town engineer, you've got the fire department, a fire marshal. Sometimes you have landscape consultant, the town of Farmington. The town of Farmington is only involved because they operate and maintain the sanitary sewer system, even though the town owns the infrastructure. So there's a series of comments that go back and forth to address technical issues. Sometimes comments are also reflect some of the community sentiments. It just happens to be that they reflect community sentiments. So we got to go through the environmental review process. The planning board intends to pass a resolution tonight indicating their desire to be lead agency. So there's at least 30 days that goes by, and at some point we'll go through parts 2 and 3 of the EAF. It's going to be a couple months.
What is the EAF?
Environmental assessment form.
Okay, so a few months, then we hear the outcome of if the actual proposed overrides will officially connect.
Well, I don't know. It depends on how the deliberations go with the planning board, and they're going to have to deliberate between public comments and also town policy, what's been adopted. I've got to get into a couple of my comments here, but you'll hear a little bit more about that too.
Okay, so all of these comments are put into this record and then given to these people who are making the final determination?
Yes, the
Okay.
deciding body is right
Yep.
here at this table, exclusive of me and the secretary.
Okay.
And Joe, typically the public hearing would stay open?
Yes, yeah. And
The
I
seeker process?
think I stated that right up front, that this is an ongoing public hearing until we finish the seeker process. Correct.
Okay.
So if there's something that you hear in the review, whether it's, wetlands or traffic or whatever piece of the EAF that we choose to, that we're able to review, that you object to or you have comments on, you're certainly welcome to step right up, write a letter,
Got it.
as both.
Same
So-
way that we sent the initial
Correct.
correspondence in? Okay.
Yeah, we, like I
Okay.
said, we get all those letters in advance of the meeting, and we read them all. We certainly take them to heart.
Awesome. Thank you for that explanation. I also have one more question for the builder. You showed a picture of what it would look like from Brownsville with the pretty trees, and it looks great all set back. What's the view look like from Azano Circle?
I'm sorry.
I won't be able to get that.
You'll have to be, yeah, if you could just,
We only did the Brownsville entrance. We increased the conservation easement from 25 to 50 feet on the one side. So if that's important to the board, it's something we could render. if
I
it's-
would say very often we ask the applicant developer to provide multiple views. So certainly from your subdivision, it would be important to see what it's going to look like as an entry there. Whether or not there's a pillar saying this is the Nova Rise or not, that'd be something that we'd work through, whether or not it's acceptable from your perspective, but doesn't need to be there. But certainly a view of what the first homes would look like and the street coming in,
Right.
we could ask for.
Absolutely.
And I would say the same thing for the question regarding the slopes. We
Yes.
asked them to cut sections in various significant areas to show exactly what the ground profile looks like, to show whether or not it's a feasible, that may not be desirable, but, you know, from a
Right.
grade perspective, but we'd be able to see what they're up against.
Right.
And you could see that. You say, well, yeah, they can't do a 20% grade. You understand that. It may indicate how much of clearing there would have to be to do that as well. So you'd be losing trees, you'd be having steep grades. All of that would be worked through as we go through this review process.
Okay. Thank you
Okay?
for your time.
You're welcome. Next up.
Hello, board. Thank you. My name is Joe Roth. I'm at 1073 Azano Circle. I mirror everything my neighbors and the public have been, all the concerns they've been voicing about this development. I want to quickly touch on one big point that 3 of the board members at the previous meeting asked about and have not yet been addressed by Morel. And it actually ties in to what Jess was saying about the entrance from Brownsville here. I noticed that the entrance on Brownsville here, you have very straight homes on both sides. And the builder tonight said that they moved the entrance down Brownsville so that you can't see the homes up the hill. That is not the case when you're coming in from our neighborhood. You're looking at the sides of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses in some cases. We all know these developments, they don't have windows on the sides of their houses, many of them. They are plain blocks. These are all above our homes. They're very much visible from the backs of our homes. The 50 feet of easement that they walked the site and saw all the trees, that's not there. I'm one of the homes. There's 15 feet from my line to the end of the dead trees, not living trees, dead trees, covered in vines, unkept. Some of them are even knocked down from the previous tenant. 15 feet, and I have the widest amount of trees blocking my backyard from these homes. I'm not thrilled about seeing all these sides of homes, out our back window. I know when we all moved here, there was that stub road. We also, when we moved here, there was the stub road going to St. John's, or the walking path into St. John's. We could very easily make the assumption that that's what that was going to be in the future. I won't comment on that anymore. At the last meeting, it was very clear that 3 of you had a big problem with how, I'm going to use the word disrespectful, the house placement is on this plan to the Azano Circle neighborhood. We already have a problem with the traffic. We also have a problem with the general aesthetics and what they're proposing to bring into our backyards. So we'll keep commenting on this as the proposal goes on. We have been speaking with more and more of our neighbors. We already submitted, as you all know, a petition that every single house on our street signed against the connectivity. We're looking forward to all the future meetings. We also have a lot of friends in similar developments to ours that are worried about the potential for their neighborhoods to have this kind of an encroachment as well, that are also actively writing us letters right now and you know, we're looking forward to the next couple meetings. We totally understand you own the land, you have the right to build on it, but at the same time, we've been there for a good amount of time, and what you're doing specifically with the connectivity and with our backyards feels like a disrespectful
Could you talk into the
encroachment.
microphone?
Sure.
Thanks.
Sorry about that. Feels like a disrespectful encroachment, was what I'd said. I'll yield it to my other neighbors here, who I'm sure are all going to have some very similar sentiments. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Steve Wolf, 1076 Azano Circle. Basically, I just want to thank the board for this opportunity. I've got 2 comments and then 2 questions that haven't been brought up yet. One is for the board, one is for the people who are going to be doing the construction. The 2 comments is that, so I've been an emergency physician for over 35 years, and I do agree that having the increased traffic from the subdivision into Azano Circle is definitely a safety issue for the young children on our street. And remember that at least what I saw up on the screen is that this is the first plan or the first division that they're thinking about building. It looks like that they're thinking about building other types of homes, okay, in the future, which in my mind would mean that there's even a greater chance of more traffic coming from this area onto Azano Circle. The second comment that I would like to say is that if you take a look at that stub road from St. John's to Azano Circle, there's actually 6 pylons there. There's a metal pin. You can remove that metal pin. The pylons come off, and therefore, if you needed emergency vehicles, okay, you could get emergency vehicles down that area. The 2 questions that I have, one for the board, is that there's a pump station at Brownsville Road that's close to Plaster Mill. And I guess my question is, will that be able to handle those number of people in that subdivision?
Yeah, so Labella, we have done an evaluation of the pump stations over there, and it looks like so long as each of the homes, we evaluated 70 homes a couple months back, and so long as they were 4 bedrooms or fewer, the pump station shouldn't have a problem.
Okay. And then my question for the builders is that you mentioned that there was going to be a public trail where the public could use. Where are these people going to park?
You can certainly step up. Typically, we work with Victor Hiking Trails, who works with the developer if the hiking trails wants to sponsor or encourage the installation of public hiking trails. So you can expand on that if you like.
Yep. I mean, that's what Victor Hiking Trails is trying to do, is connectivity to the entire trail system. So it's not necessarily like a public park. It's more for people that live in the area and someone that might hike 7 or 8 miles, connecting the different trails. So there might be a future location where we can connect, or they can connect with a different developer or landowner.
So is there going to be a parking space, a parking area for these people?
We don't know yet. If it's more for internal use as a local, or I'll call it a neighborhood trail system, typically not. But if you go over to Collier Crossing, they have a small little bump out next to the pond right at near the entrance to that development for a couple of cars to park there. It would never be a large parking lot in a location like what you're, where we're looking at.
Sure. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Earl Walker, 1071 Azano Circle, and Pluto. So I have a couple of questions because I saw this map previously, and it doesn't look like it's been updated since the last meeting. It doesn't accurately depict the expanded conservation easement. It doesn't show the topography, and it doesn't show a lot of detail on how it would actually impact Azano Circle. And like was talked about before, there really should be something put out there showing what will it look like from our neighborhood with the Nova Rise development. so that we actually know what's going to be, how it's going to be impacting us.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of pieces that are missing that are really vague, that really should be clarified as soon as possible with the new development. Other piece I'll actually mention is that coming out of Nova Rise, if that road is connected, everything's gonna have to make a left-hand turn. And the traffic for us going up to our houses is gonna be coming up a hill and there's a turn. So it really creates a situation where there could be more accidents and people getting T-boned because they're making a left-hand turn when everybody else is coming up the neighborhood, or people are trying to go up to Nova Rise. Other piece is that even as it is now with our 27 homes, getting out of Brownsville Road, there's a decent amount of traffic, not Brownsville, Plaster Mill. There's a decent amount of traffic where making a left-hand turn can take some time. So if you have all these other cars coming in, there's going to be a traffic jam up Azano Circle of people trying to get out if they decide to go down Plaster Mill Road. I do have some other questions because I was trying to figure out the math on this, because it's 158 acres, and if 98 acres are dedicated to conservation, that leaves 60 acres for 74 homes. So it's going to be really tightly packed with the lot sizes. It's going to be less than an acre per house. And the concern is if you're bringing houses that are going to be significantly lower than what's in Tuscany Hills and also with, I'm drawing a blank, but St. John's, it's going to lower those property values because you have these houses in small lots, small sizes, and it's going to compare where it's going to look like, well, our houses are going to be less. So I'll put, the neighbors know, but full transparency, we did list our house briefly, and during that listing, concerns from people that were willing to make offers, they stated that they did not want to make an offer to the house because there will be homes being developed behind us. So, and the people that did make offers were significantly lower than what anything is sold in that area for reasonable. So we pulled it off the market because we're not going to just give away our house. So we're staying, but there's already a property value impact based on this neighborhood, based on us putting our house up to market. A couple other pieces I have is that I don't see that the conservation is put out there in a strategic fashion where it actually helps and preserves our neighborhood. There's no plan to put in trees or anything to kind of divide and protect privacy. There's no buffer zone. It just seems like it's just being slapped on there and really not being well thought out. So, I mean, not to be, but it doesn't seem like it's been thought out for us. It's been thought out just for you. So I really don't think that that's the way it should be done in Victor. And I really think that's the wrong way to go about business. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Davis, 1066 Azano. Had a few questions. First off, I think the most important question is, well, just a question that hasn't been established yet. Where will the model home be? Will it be off of your curb appeal Brownsville Road, or will it be within our neighborhood off of the Stubb Street current?
We usually come in the new section because we're not going to connect to Azano Circle until we finish the back end of the neighborhood. So there will be no access from Azano Circle. So I would imagine, I haven't picked a location yet, but usually it would be the first house on the right or the left from Brownsville.
Now, typically in new neighborhoods, they typically in the neighborhood where it's less curb appeal, where it'd be less attractive. It looks like you're stacking the houses, as Joe was saying previously. Is that part of the plan as far as maybe make it easier to sell houses right off Brownsville, not backed up to a neighborhood that would, have a lot of traffic, wouldn't be as safe for the newer homes on the Stubb Street?
I don't understand the question.
So in other words, you're going to begin housing, correct, right off of the popular curb appeal Brownsville Road section, and in the neighborhood in the backside. And I assume that's just because those homes won't sell for as much as they will in the front of your proposed neighborhood, just like it's affecting Joe's and everybody else's property values there.
The reason we have to come in off of Brownsville,
Just step a little closer to the mic so Lisa gets it.
I
Thanks.
believe the town would not allow us to come in through Azano. We're coming in from Brownsville so we can, create all the construction traffic through our own neighborhood so that we don't have any construction equipment coming through Azano. We want to minimize that, if not eliminate it.
Okay. One other concern I would have regarding traffic actually would be, what would that look like for the headlights going straight into the houses right across the street from the stub? In relation to traffic as well, regarding weather, there is a huge pitch. So not only do you have blind sides with that huge curve coming downhill, if someone's turning left there, I think someone said slam on the brakes, you may have a T-bone action right there. But along with weather, with the pitch, if you look at the curvature of that road, we already have issues with that. Kids coming into the road, in addition to weather, snow, right, plowing, what type of damage you may have in addition to potential injuries.
When that stub was located, it was located so that it wasn't going to be right in the middle of a lot. So it would be lined up with the border between two adjacent lots. So, yeah, as soon as they turn, the headlights are going to move. But coming in from Nova Rise, the stop sign, a car stop there won't be shining right at a house. It'll be between two houses.
And regarding the weather, as far as, and I know we'll take a look at the traffic and everything like that, but you got to take, I just want to comment with that, because when you're coming down that sharp hill, especially hanging that right, if someone's turning out right in front of you, it could cause a huge accident and even property damage with the weather. With the pump stations, you kind of covered that, I think, right? You've already done additional research regarding the pump stations that can handle that much. Hiking trails, we mentioned hiking trails, but there's no really, it has to be sponsored. I assume that's not promised. What is that based on? If we could just have a record of that. Where would it be located on the property?
Yeah, all these details would be worked out during preliminary and final design, so.
Okay.
And with your input, honestly. And
Yeah, for sure. I just wanted to, while we're drawing these maps, right, we're making it, have curb appeal, making it make sense, right? The pictures look great, but I don't see a picture off of our cul-de-sac. What would that look like as far as curb appeal for, the signs and all that stuff? Obviously, they're going to put their model home off Brownsville Road for a reason, just so it would look good and so they can get higher values on their end, right? Why can we not add a second entrance on McMahon? I think that's the biggest thing. I'm sorry, not McMahon, on Brownsville. Because the traffic on McMahon and Placer Mill are pretty crazy too, regarding weather, turning in and out of that place. You're adding hundreds of homes, multiple vehicles, right? These aren't small houses. In addition, with all the apartments down the street, everybody coming through, even the roundabout right down the street here, what would that do with traffic? I think that needs to, take into account as well. So that's all I have.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Let me pull up my notes. I'm sorry. There we go. All right. Thank you, board, for letting me speak. My name is James Phelan. I am the second house on the right as you come up Azano Circle, known as the Christmas house. Has all the Christmas lights on it. I have two little kids, and so I have every single concern that my neighbors have addressed. I have a few more that I'd like to note. I was at the conservation meeting as well, and I'll ask the board to note that I heard the developers say that they were going to give 100 foot of conservation, that we had 50, and they were going to double it to another 50. So they told them 100, and so that was what I heard, and they just told you tonight 50. So just check the facts if that's true or not. I might have heard it wrong.
He's going to check you right now.
So maybe you misunderstood or I said it wrong, but what we were trying to do is we proposed 25 feet on our property at the March 10th meeting, and they have 50 feet on their property. So we matched the same amount, so it is a 100-foot conservation easement.
So it's 50 on one subdivision.
50 on their property and 50,
on Nova.
proposing 50 on our property, correct.
All right, so that's 100 feet. It's more than the 25 feet times 2 and 1.5.
The 25 was never mentioned. It was 50 and 50.
Yeah.
At the,
Okay,
at the meeting.
I think they probably changed it since then, but that's fine.
Okay. Another, to Scott's point, he brought up Mahone Road, that you're gonna go out of the community, make a left on Plaster Mill, gonna make a right on Mahone, and try to make a left onto 96 to go to Tops. Has anybody ever done that route?
Yeah.
10 minutes, and it's just vehicle traffic from our neighborhood. Imagine 74 more homes going to Tops. Closest grocery store we have. Gonna be ridiculous, right? There's no traffic circle there like we have built in the town, which I like, great concept, but we don't have them here. Vehicle count. I have cameras in front of my house. I did a count. 228 vehicles in one day. 228 vehicles coming down Azano Circle and up Azano Circle in a day. So, original meeting, they said it would add an additional 74 vehicles. Is that what they said on the record?
I believe that's the maximum per hour, if I'm not mistaken, in both directions, but.
So, that could be even more, right? So,
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the maximums, right?
Okay.
So there's times when you have a couple of cars, so, but it was the peak morning and peak evening, if you look at the study.
And I would like to know the study, because I'm at the bottom of the circle, and that's where the traffic is going in and out, and there was never one of those tubes across the road to count vehicles, cameras. How'd you conduct the survey? I didn't see some guy hanging out at the bottom of my neighborhood. So you're inventing things right now. So, all right.
I did,
Okay.
you want to comment, you got to step up
Sorry.
to the mic, sorry, I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear it, but,
Oh,
sorry, and your name first before.
Pat Arellano was here earlier. Thank you for your time. I am concerned about, rolling this through. To everybody's point, they're going to benefit from our higher, beautiful neighborhood. So I see why the allure to open it up this way. But as far as I'm concerned, we're the one paying taxes. You guys are working for us. We appreciate what you're doing. But I think the simple solution is very simply open up that second road. What's the cost of doing that? We talked
I'm
about
sorry,
that.
second road meaning,
The other option, route to Brownsville, that we talked about earlier, my understanding is that you kind of already set that aside. I want to be revisiting that to see factually from a third party, what is the cost to actually do that, rather than relying on the builder and somebody else here saying, yeah, it's impossible almost. I think it is possible, because the grade looks identical to our street. They had to do a lot of rebuilding. Now we have to talk about costs, and I can understand that. But I don't think, if you live in our neighborhood, that it's workable to do this plan, because we have a very aggressive grade. And 2 or 3 times every single winter, a month, I can't get up the street hardly. So if you add this much traffic, the second question is, who's responsible if somebody dies? And where, does the town get sued? Do they get sued? I don't think it's them, but it's a real concern if you live there. 3 or 4 times a month in the winter, I cannot get up the street without really tactically trying to get up there with a 4-wheel drive vehicle. I think others would say that's true. Anybody here experience that? So adding this much traffic is simply irresponsible, not possible. It's not a normal grade. We have an aggressive grade. If they want to build, we don't have a problem with that, but they got to find another road. Or at least price it. Nobody's priced it. They're saying it's not possible.
Well-
I'd be more than happy to personally pay for a study.
But I said.
'Cause I want to be convinced that it's not possible
Okay.
if you're going to put so many people at risk.
We've had 2 or 3 people make those similar comments, so I understand the concern, and I would be too. I did say that we would ask the developer to cut some sections to show what is feasible if you went straight down the hill from that cul-de-sac there. So to illustrate whether or not it's even possible from a geometrics point of view, because there are standards that we have to follow.
And I would appreciate it if it's a second party, not relying on the developer respectfully.
Well, they're the ones doing the survey and paying
I
for the
don't have a
cost.
problem doing another survey. I just want to be sure, because I don't want to lean on the developer to rely on whether or not they're going to change our world here. It's a really big
That's why I have an
deal.
engineer to review the information that.
I respectfully see that, but he's also kind of like on the board, so
He's not on the board. He works for the board.
he's not on the board?
No.
She's not a voting member, and she's not a voting. He's not
Yeah,
a voting member.
you have
It's over there.
5 board members here that vote.
Engineer and
Lisa
secretary.
is our very
Understood.
capable
Thank you for
secretary,
clarification.
and Wes is our engineer. So,
Well, I humbly respect what you guys are trying to do, but if somebody lives there, if you live there, you would not want this, because there's no question property values are going to drop. It's just a question of how much.
every subdivision, you can make that case. So, I'm not unsympathetic, but
All right, thank you for
I
your time.
understand it. Okay.
I have 3 more points. So, we have the flooding runoff that comes from when it rains and it fills up the river. What's the name of the river next to us? Mud Creek. Fills up the Mud Creek, and our street sometimes turns into the bottom of Plaster Mill, and Brownsville turns into Mud Creek. So how is that going to not increase with all the extra concrete and pavement that has to go through a drainage system to Mud Creek, or not sewer, but stormwater?
So the developer's engineer has to look at that and review it. Once they come up with a design for stormwater retention facility, our engineers will review that to make sure that it will be a proper buffer to not increase the potential for flooding downstream, if you will.
So the study that was conducted for our neighborhood was flawless or flawed?
I don't know
Because
what-
we flood all the time
Yeah.
at the bottom of our street. All the time.
But
So, to where we have to slow down to 5 miles per hour to get through the puddle of water going into our neighborhood.
yeah, I would.
Okay?
Where's the flooding on Plaster? It's on
Plaster Mill and
Road?
Brownsville, right there, mostly
Well,
Plasterville,
is it-
comes
is it-
up into our neighborhood.
Is it
into
be-
their house?
Is
Yes.
it between Azano and the village, or
It's between
Azano and the other?
Azano and Mud Creek.
So, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right at the bottom of Azano.
Mhm.
So I'd request you look into that,
That would
please.
be something that you could certainly address to the town building department, and they would be able to review what was done.
Based on our community, I understand that, sir, and I would probably definitely want to go talk to them about
Yeah.
why is our community not, but based on building a new community that has a lot more asphalt and a lot more concrete and going to have a lot more runoff, I mean,
We will review
is it going to be
it.
addressed properly?
Yes.
Yeah, question, can I ask a follow-up question on
Yeah.
that? I just want to understand the concern better so that we can try to address it. So the flooding on Plaster Mill Road, is it a result of the drainage that's coming off of the Tuscany Hills development? Or is it Mud Creek that is swelling and getting into Plaster Mill Road?
It's a little bit of both, because every time it
Okay.
rains,
Okay.
Mud Creek fills up,
Yep.
and we have the huge retention ponds
Yeah.
that kind of, like, massive barrels of water come out, flow
Okay.
through the rocks, go into the stormwater drainage system, goes right into Mud Creek, and keeps filling. And it
Okay.
comes from other neighborhoods too, so
Oh, it comes
this is
from all
just
over the
another,
town, yeah.
this is another neighborhood that's gonna just add to that. The whole golf course gets flooded constantly.
Okay.
Has anybody actually looked at Plaster Mill? The
Sorry,
school buses.
name first before you do that.
It was just
Sorry.
up here.
Lisa has to
Scott
transcribe all of these
Zion
notes.
1077 Azano Circle.
Thank you.
The school buses aren't even authorized to go a certain way on Plaster Mill in fear of Mud Creek, that road
Mm-hmm.
giving out to Mud Creek. You're going to add that many more cars down that road?
All right.
If a school bus can't take it,
I think it's 10 tons,
something to think
something
about.
like that.
All right, there's something we can do? Do you have any other comments?
Yes, I have two more comments. So the board requested the developers to come back with a more spacious community model, and they had 55 feet, and now they added 65. So you get 5 more feet, and that's spacious? I'm like, come on, and they still kept the same number of homes. They just put homes in back homes. You know, they're trying to keep the money in their pot, but just keep the same number of homes. But they didn't really afford a spacious community like you asked them to do, in my opinion. That's it. And then the cul-de-sac study. So based on the other 2 communities that were previously discussed, I recommend the board look into a solution that we can make their entrance wider, do another cul-de-sac to, the fire code worked for them. Why can't the fire code work for us? That's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Hello. Jason Moore, 1089 Azano Circle. Forgive my ignorance about all of this, and if it's been addressed before. When is this project, when do you guys want to start, I guess? Are we talking this summer? Are we
No,
talking next
you-
year? What
You
are we
won't
talking
even
about?
get approval by this summer. I mean, it'll probably 6 months to a year usually to get through before they could get our construction even.
That's my only question,
Yeah.
was when this was going to kick off.
Okay.
Millie Kana,
thank
also
you.
1089 Azano Circle. So I guess I would ask if things that other builders have done, if Morel could implement those. I know Polidori and Ferry in Candlelight Run, they have huge berms, not only right on the street on Klein, they also have them down on both sides, and they have giant trees that they brought in. Polidori's brought in giant trees to be able to facilitate a berm to provide the privacy that they're looking for.
Are you looking to buffer between your
Yeah, like, I mean, if
subdivision
they're
and the
saying,
other
if they're
subdivision?
looking at, because I've heard a lot of the My neighbors say that there's, dead trees, it's a lot of clear space, so their view's gonna be impaired. If they're gonna go through this project anyways, if it gets to that point, if you could maybe ask for berms, giant trees, I mean, Polidori, it's like 50-foot pine.
We have very
Maybe put
often
some-
asked for buffering, whether it's trees or occasionally a berm, I think.
Yeah.
Other ways to help screen,
Right.
reorientation of lots even, things like that, so.
Right, and then also, I mean, if they're able to do, I don't know if you can make a street where only emergency vehicles are allowed, because it sounds like a lot of the other concerns, and we're the model. So we're right on the corner, so every car, every vehicle that goes by our house. And if there is a way to have a street that's only accessible to emergency vehicles, maybe that would be the solution. I know that they're saying the pathway that goes from St. John's to our neighborhood, that it has a pin that is removable. I mean, I don't know if that's something that can be
If
incorporated.
I'm a fire truck and I have to stop to remove a pin, that could be the difference between a major fire and resolving an issue very quickly, or an ambulance. So it's an issue, they would probably go around, they wouldn't, that takes time. So.
Right.
I think that there's a sentiment, I understand where you're coming from.
Mhm.
The problem
Is there
with,
signage that's allowed that says emergency vehicles only?
when's the last time you saw someone obey that?
I don't know, this isn't my domain, I'm just
Okay.
asking if
Yeah.
there's provisions that are allowed, you see them on U-turns,
Mhm.
on the street, on the freeway, you see them in other, you may not see it in a residential neighborhood necessarily, but it might be something that you could
Mhm.
consider.
We'll look at a variety of things,
Yeah.
okay?
I'm
It's
just
not like
saying
we're
if it's gonna go
discounting it all,
through-
but I'm just telling
If
you
it's-
some of the things
If it's going to
that
go
go
through
through.
anyways, all I'm asking is if there's some considerations that can be put in place for both neighborhoods to kind of be able to exist
Mhm.
in a nice environment, yeah.
Okay.
Hello, good night. Garfield Ruddock, 1078 Asano Circle. Thank you for the opportunity. I think I'm the last. Oh, no,
One more.
Um,
Maybe two.
I think if, my plea is to admonish the board to look at it from our point of view. I would imagine if you heard us all talk collectively, you would think, gosh, there's a lot of emotional reaction to this, which is understandable. The biggest investment one has is their home, and the thing that we safeguard the most are the people that live in that home, in those homes. But I'd ask you to focus on facts. James made a point where he asked the question, when did they do the traffic survey? When was that done, and in whose interest would that be? Common sense dictates that they need that report to be skewed towards them. My question would be, what is the facts, right? So we can be emotional about our homes as well, but the facts are also on our side. And that traffic that every member of our community talked about is real. I happen to live at 1078, which positions me directly across from that pathway. And I was choosing not to speak, but when JD mentioned lights, from my perspective, anyone exiting from that community is now going to be a hazard from my house. Multiply that by the number of cars that we're thinking about here. So I don't want it to be a selfish, singular, my concern about lights. I think the most profound point that was made today is about the traffic and the impact it will have on the people we value the most, our family members. And I fundamentally disagree with any, I don't need, I know what the traffic pattern is. I do it multiple times a day. And if I just multiply that out by factors of 28 community members and add in the Amazon guy and the delivery, all the other, I know that what the number that they estimated is incorrect. So I asked the board to not only hear our emotional plea, but back this up with facts, because we're confident that the facts will also bear us out. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Holly Eldridge. I live at 912 Brownsville, which is right next to, I don't know how this works, but the little lot next to where the one access road from
There might be
Brownsville
one
is
of
going.
these up there.
Pardon me?
There might be another one of these up there, a laser
Yeah, I
pointer.
just don't know how to use it.
There's nothing that looks like this?
Turn it around the other way.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, that one
Okay.
would work.
So we live right there.
Okay.
And then that's, Ravenwood owns that lot in between us. And I don't mean to be rude, but the access point that they're all talking about that goes into their community, wasn't that there before they all bought in there?
Yes.
So before they bought there, they already knew there was gonna be some sort of something going in because the access road is going that direction.
Yeah, it also shows up on the town
Correct.
infrastructure plan.
So
as
they
a-
chose to go buying in there, and when you live in a cul-de-sac, there's gonna be traffic, there's gonna be, you're on top of each other. That's why I chose to live there in the country, kind of, so I wouldn't have that. So, you know, I think what these guys are doing is a really nice, beautiful development. There's gonna be a lot of nice homes in there. We are actually excited about the trails that they're doing across the road. It's selfishly, we can use that to hike on. I just wanted to comment on another point. They were talking about, a couple of the guys, about the flooding there with the creek, Mud Creek, they call it. I think over time, as water flows, it's gotten worse since we lived there. We've been there for 4 years. Because all the debris and everything washed down from wherever it's coming from, which fills up the floor of the creek, which is making less room for water, which is gonna, so I don't think it has anything to do with the concrete or all that.
Our engineers will take a look at what they're designing to mitigate
Yeah.
water and runoff from impervious surfaces up on that subdivision. So
Correct.
I appreciate your comment.
But, I mean, myself, I don't see any problem with what they're trying to do.
Okay,
We're happy for them.
thank you.
And they bought the property, they're, you know, it's up to them what they want to do with it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, good evening. Mike Bonacci, 1081 Azano Circle. Just a couple questions that haven't been addressed tonight. The connection from Nova Rise to Azano is called the Franti Way. What's being proposed for, like, is there a stop sign, speed bumps? Is there anything like that being proposed, or just,
There would be a stop sign at the end of that, I believe. There's no reason not to have one. So it's the ultimate in traffic control, or traffic speed control, I'll call it. People have to stop there. So
Okay.
that's what's being proposed.
I was at the Conservation Board meeting as well, and nothing was mentioned about, is there a study on what the wildlife that's going to be affected is? I know when we first moved in, there was coyotes roaming the streets all day because their homes were destroyed. Has that been looked into? There's 15 deer in my backyard every day. It's great to see. Like, what kind of wildlife families are going to be uprooted, and how's that going to be?
Part of our environmental assessment looks at, is it threatened endangered species and impacts to the site, I guess, from, development like this. So I know Wesley might be able to chime in more about that, but
Yeah, absolutely. I think looking at impacts to plants, animals, habitats, that's something that we got to take a look at. You got to remember, a large portion of this project area is proposed as green space, open space, right? So while there is a significant chunk that is being proposed for development, which is largely generating all of the public comments here, right? There is a lot of the area that's going to be preserved as part of the project too.
Okay,
But
that
that's a
study hasn't
valid
been done.
point, and we will look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, like 8 years ago, I moved in and there was coyotes daily, so that, that was a thought.
Just want to re-mention the power grid. I mean, we lose power 5-6 times a year, so that definitely is a big concern of mine. If the grids are not able to sustain,
That's a bigger systemic problem, I think, than just a subdivision, but I understand.
Yeah.
I live over on Dry Road, and we get those too.
okay. And is there any street lighting being proposed with the subdivision?
I don't know.
So currently, there are no streetlights proposed. However, there are individual lamp posts that would likely be under the control of the property owner.
Okay.
However, I think as part of this project, we will likely ask the applicant to install an intersection, a street lamp to illuminate the intersection of the proposed road intersection with Brownsville. We might ask them to put a lamp there.
Okay.
Not at Azano Circle.
Not
correct?
at Azano
Right,
Circle. I don't
yeah.
think, I don't.
That
I
wouldn't
don't
be a
think
reason
was
to
their
do that.
thought.
Typical.
Yeah, that would be not normal.
Yeah, and just to close, obviously, the developer had the rendering from Brownsville, nothing from Azano, and they were talking about keeping the homes out of view from Brownsville, and that's not the case at Azano. So obviously, their focus has been on their development off of Brownsville, so we just ask that maybe there's another proposal that reintroduces a more discreet entrance from Azano, if that is.
Yeah, we've heard comments from multiple people about that, and we certainly will address that with the developer.
Yeah, okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ken Orlando, 1067 Azano Circle. From hearing everybody discuss this evening, I just wanted to make sure, unconfirmed reports are that this same builder had an issue, and the town cited them for issues for not following their own rules. My understanding is that there was a natural pond in which they created a water situation, and they were cited for that years ago. I wanted to see if the town is aware of that, if this is accurate. I appreciate if you could look into that. I'm very concerned that they promised no construction vehicles, and it already happened. We kind of glossed over it, but that is a concern, I would think, and that's my question to you. Have you done any type of search on the builder? Have they had any violations in the past? Obviously, they already promised something and it didn't happen. What are your thoughts on that?
Do you want an answer now, or do you want us to look into it?
Whatever your preference is. I just want to open a public commentary.
Yeah.
I think it's important if we're relying on their word on a lot of things, and if it's true that they already did a violation and were cited by the town, I think that should come to public record and conversation.
Well, this isn't the first subdivision that this developer has come before the town of Victor and developed, so we're aware of what they can do and how they've practiced, and if there's issues that arise during development of this project, once it gets approved, then our staff is more than capable of keeping after that. So I don't know if I can comment on any specific thing that you've heard from in the past. So
as far as you're aware, have they looked at the history on our street specifically and a water issue that occurred prior to building Azano Circle? My understanding is that there was one, and this builder was cited for an issue, and they were told to stop building at that moment in time until it was
you mean on
rectified.
Azano Circle or on?
Right behind on the watershed area.
Okay, I'm not aware of it personally.
Can you have the board look into that?
So regardless of the history of the developer and violations that they may have had or may not have had, I don't know. But that doesn't preclude the planning board from reviewing the application before it today on the subdivision, and doesn't preclude the opportunity for the public to comment on the current subdivision application. I'm a little confused with it because it sounded like you were mentioning that this particular developer that's proposing this project.
That's my understanding, yep.
Somehow was involved with the Tuscany Hills development?
Not Tuscany Hills, but a neighboring community right above the hill, and there was a water issue that drained in, and they were reported to the town, is my understanding. I wanted to know if you knew anything about it, and can it be looked into it?
What hill are we talking about?
It's right behind our street. There is a drainage part that was added, and that there was a natural spring located right there, and that was.
I'm confused. Are we talking about Camden Hills?
I don't know the name of the neighborhood surrounding, but
Where
it
St.
does
John's
leach
Parkway
down.
is, that's
Yeah.
Camden Hills, that whole subdivision.
Okay, yeah, so I would suppose yes. But the point is this, have you guys become aware of any violations that violated the water, the safety of the water, nature, things like that from the current proposed builder? Are you aware of any?
I'm not right now.
Yeah,
And I want to say, eye-open, if they could look into it, that would be appreciated, because I already see that there's violations. They're saying they're not going to bring construction through. How do you enforce if we see construction vehicles all over the place?
Related experts in the town, whether it's our town engineer or the building department, will look at comments that we receive, and if yours in particular is applicable, and they find something, we'll look to address that with the developer. So right now, I'm not aware of anything, and I'd say that they'll probably look at it and confirm one way or another that they know about something, so.
In order to be more specific, what's the best way of getting the information to you guys so you could look at it? Email?
Any information that you need to convey to the board goes through Lisa.
All right, thank you. I will
And she
send
has
a
a contact.
follow-up email with more specifics so that we could nail this
That
thing.
would certainly be a lot easier.
I'm just curious if it's the same builder. Thank you so much.
Okay. You can address it if you choose.
Just one part of that. I mean, I know of no violations that we have currently or anything like that. And in regards, we do apologize, but we did get a town approval to drop that construction vehicle in that location to do deep hole test. I know there's been questions about environmental, so we've done some deep hole tests and things.
Oh, can you get more?
Yeah, you need to be.
I'm sorry.
It said
but
deep hole tests.
We did some deep hole tests, so we had to drop a shovel, and we did get the town approval to drop it in that location. Unfortunately, it was the least damaging spot to do that. Probably not the smartest thing. We could have brought it up from Brownsville, but my site person did get approval from the town to drop that. In the future, obviously, we want to come off of Brownsville.
Any access we down from Brownsville.
Yep. I've
unless
told everybody.
And we certainly should have probably notified the residents so they weren't surprised by it.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
That would be good to
Noted. Thanks.
take care of that way.
One last question, 1087 Azano Circle, James Phelan. Along with that study that I requested, or you're going to conduct, or however you guys conduct it, I would ask that it would not only be a vehicle count, but a speed count. Our residents drive safely down our street. The construction vehicles, the mail, the Amazons, all the speed down, and landscapers. It's a very narrow street that we have on our Azano Circle. If you currently go down Plaster Mill and Brownsville, you'll see skid marks all down the road. It's a raceway. Cars cruise up and down at 80, 90 miles per hour down Plaster Mill, even on Brownsville, Plaster Mill and Brownsville. Mostly Brownsville. They turn that corner off Plaster Mill, and they think it's a drag strip, right behind my house. So if you would consider adding a speed study to that too, so you guys can understand as a town how dangerous these roads are, I would request
I assume that you're not implying that anyone buying a house in Nova Rise would be speeding through your subdivision?
Who
Just
knows?
saying, there are people just like you guys that are going to drive on
Understandably,
local
sir, but
streets.
people make that turn and they race up the hill. If it's a resident, we don't do that. We
Well,
know that our
these are
community.
residents that will be part of your neighborhood if that goes through. So,
I'm just requesting a
Yeah,
speed
no,
study.
understood.
So if a speed study needs to
Yeah.
happen, it's been mentioned, we have a very steep incline. People have gone through my yard. It's a curvy, steep incline.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone through my yard, hit mailboxes. Multiple people have had mailboxes ruined in our neighborhood.
and these are
So,
with the subdivision the way it is right now, correct?
but not residents.
Yeah.
Yes, with
Okay.
the way it is
Yeah.
right now, right?
Okay.
I mean, it's a safe neighborhood, but there's dangers to any neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then you're going to add all more cars to it to add
Yeah.
danger. So that's all I request. Thank you,
All
sir.
right, thanks. All right, I think I'm going to make this the last one. We've got other future meetings. There will be more opportunities to comment, so you're it.
Dave Tantillo, 6677 St. John's Parkway. So everything that they're saying here, that's how I felt when you guys were building your house. I get it. Let's point of clarification here. They were talking about the path between our development and Azano. I was, as you know, town councilman for 8 years, so I was on the town board when they were being built, and the question came up to the town board from the residents, we don't want to connect to them. And so you guys had recommended about connectivity. And we said, well, here's the problem. We haven't fixed, there was no roundabout. And if we connected our neighborhood to their neighborhood, all people would do would come from Fairport, cut through our neighborhoods just to get, so the decision was, do not connect our neighborhoods until we fix Route 96. Now it's fixed. Anyways, so, but the decision was, okay, let's put in it is an emergency road, just to be clear. It was designed by the town board with the planning board and the zoning board that in the event there was an emergency, there's the pins there. But to your point, they're not going to do it. But if a fire truck has to drive, they can drive through it, right? So that's what it was designed for, to be clear. The water issue, there was water issue that when they put zone or phase 3 in, but Morel jumped all over it and they fixed it. So that's the water issue that it was brought to their attention. So they jumped all over it, took care of it, was brought to their attention. So it got approved. You guys did a phenomenal job. And here's where I just want to talk about safety is before your neighborhood was built, there was a snowplow coming down our neighborhood and it decided to explode in front of my house. And so the neighborhood shut down. So everyone that was north of the fire truck could not go to their homes for over a day because there was no way of getting in and out of this neighborhood. And this is what you guys are trying to say about safety. You guys weren't built yet, so they couldn't use that access road. So connectivity and for safety for emergency vehicles is a must. The question is, how do we let Morel build, because they have the right to build, be respectful for them. So if I was on town board again, I would take a look at that access road and say, can you do a similar type of emergency like we have with theirs, so that in the event there is an emergency, like a fire truck blowing up, or we had a house on fire at St. John's Parkway that shut the neighborhood down too. Once again, couldn't get in and out at the time. So anyways, I just wanted to share, to clear up some, why it was built, what it was built. Yes, we were concerned, but I will tell you, I trust the board. 3 of you have been on the board since when I was a councilman for 8 years, and I know you're going to do the right thing because you guys developed a beautiful neighborhood next to us that we are really concerned about, and we're really happy with our neighborhood and the path. That's all I have to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks, Dave. I appreciate the vote of confidence for the board. And he's right. I mean, we do look at and listen to all of you. So while I may have my feelings about certain aspects of it because I've been on the board so long and went through those other subdivisions, I'm not averse to looking at other alternatives. So again, you'll have more opportunities down the road to, no pun intended, to make comments. So with that, Wes has some things to review before we go through our seeker lead agency coordination resolution.
Yeah, thanks.
Give him the mic, so.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. So LaBella, we do have a draft letter prepared on comments for the preliminary subdivision. There's a couple loose ends we're trying to tie up, so apologize that that's not in your hands yet. But a couple of things we wanted to call to the planning board's attention, and maybe a bunch of these comments are a little more technical. We don't have to go through them right now, but for example, I wanted to call the planning board's attention to several documents that discuss vehicular and pedestrian connectivity when considering future development within the town, including consideration for residential subdivisions. And so there are 5 of them. Number 1, Town of Victor Comprehensive Plan, last amended 2019. The Access Management Plan adopted in August of 2019. The official map of the Town of Victor adopted in August of 2019. Chapter 55 of the Victor Town Code, the access management regulations, and then also the Victor Connectivity and Access Plan from September 2022. So I can also help, kind of assemble what the theme of those documents are for your consideration and balancing between, the developers' desires, the town's policies, and what we're hearing from the public. Another comment here, preservation of natural features. We wanted to call the planning board's attention to a particular section of the town code 184-16, paragraph A1 of the code, which is in the subdivision regulations. It mentions, to the fullest extent possible, all existing trees and shrubbery shall be preserved by the subdivider. The subdivision should be designed with consideration being given to the preservation of natural features. Precautions also shall be taken to protect existing trees and shrubbery during the process of grading the lots and the roads. And we felt that consideration should be given to limit the extent of clearing in the vicinity of the existing Tuscany Hills neighborhood and to potentially require more of a vegetative buffer between the proposed homes and the existing neighborhood. A little more on the technical side of things, the grinder pump force mains for lots 2, 3, 4, 5, 71, 72, and 73. The configuration might, it appears to make ownership and maintenance complicated due to force mains traversing multiple private lots and traversing the public right-of-way as well. So an alternative configuration and design might be required that includes a low-pressure force main within the town's right-of-way where individual grinder pumps might convey flows to a common low-pressure force main with a curb check valve at the right-of-way line. So we can talk a little bit more about that at another meeting, or maybe even offline with regard to the force main. And then the directional drill with a Zano circle, we just wanted to be sure that the sanitary sewer directional drill, you've got enough room there and the existing right-of-way and or easement area for a bore pit and lay down areas, that sort of thing. So there's a bunch more technical comments in here, but I at least wanted to get those off my chest tonight. So that's it for right now.
Thank you, Wes. Unless anyone has any other questions or comments. Okay. I have a draft seeker lead agency coordination resolution, which there are, Lisa says, some copies in the back table if you're interested, because I'm not going to read everything here. It's pretty straightforward. So this is a resolution for lead agency coordination, Novarai subdivision, Brownsville Road, application 2 PS 26. Whereas on or about May 5th, 2026, the town of Victor received a subdivision application from Marathon Engineering on behalf of Morel Team in Motion and RKH Golf LLC, proposing a 74-lot cluster subdivision over 3 parcels totaling 158.2 acres located east and west of Brownsville Road, including 973 Brownsville Road, within the town's Residential 2 zoning district and within the Residential B overlay district. And whereas the Town of Victor Planning Board has preliminarily classified the project as Type 1 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQR, pursuant to the following sections of SEQR's implementing regulations. Section 617.4, paragraph B8, any unlisted action that includes a non-agricultural use occurring wholly or partially within the agricultural district certified pursuant Agriculture and Markets Law, Article 25AA, Sections 303 and 304, and exceeds 25% of any threshold established in this section, and 617.4, paragraph B6I, a project or action that involves the physical alteration of 10 acres. If you hang on a second. Okay, maybe I'll read the whole thing. Whereas the project would disturb 38.9 acres of land, exceeding a 2.5 acre disturbance threshold created due to the project site being located within and adjacent to an agricultural district, and whereas the New York State Department of Health considers realty subdivisions to be a Type 1 action under SEQR, and a realty subdivision as defined as the sale, rental, or offer for sale or lease of any tract of land under one ownership or common scheme which has been subdivided into 5 or more residential lots designated by meets and bounds, each comprising of 5 acres or less within any 3-year period. And whereas the Planning Board has preliminarily identified that the Town of Victor Town Board, New York State Department of Health, and Ontario County Planning Board are involved agencies as defined in Section 617.2 of the SEQR regulations, and the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, Monroe County Water Authority, Town of Farmington Water and Sewer Department are interested agencies, and whereas the planning board intends to proceed with coordinated review as required for type 1 actions, and a lead agency must be established prior to making a determination of significance. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby declares its intent to act as lead agency and directs the planning board secretary to mail the long form EAF Part 1 completed by the project sponsor and a copy of the subdivision application to all involved and interested agencies, notifying them that a lead agency must be agreed upon within the 30 calendar days of the date of the environmental assessment form was mailed to them, expressing the planning board's intent to act as lead agency. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. So on that resolution, entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
Scott moves.
Second.
Joe seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried 5-0. Okay, part 2. Right? This is where we are, I guess, with this application. So, I guess you guys as developers have some homework to do based on a lot of comments we've heard this evening. Some requests that were made regarding the site visuals, alternatives, I guess, in terms of screening and sections through a potential road that was requested as an alternative. And just if there's other things that you heard that you'd like to address, I think that would be more than welcome by the residents at our next meeting. So with that, I think we're set with this. I thank you all for coming out. Appreciate your comments and your help with evaluating this plan. So, anybody have anything else?
I have a comment. 30 days from today would take us to July 9th, which would then put you on the July 14th meeting, if you are ready. So just so the residents know, I will put that on the agenda. If they do not appear on it, it will say tabled or, so just be aware, you will not get any more postcards. I can't do that every meeting. So by all means, call me, email me. I know some of you have sent me emails. Please, if you have any questions of when it's going to be on the next agenda, I'll coordinate with the applicant. So, okay?
And again, if you don't have their contact information, there's cards in the back that have that for Lisa. So, and she gets everything to us. So, all right. I think that's everything this evening. Any motions?
Move to adjourn?
Joe moves.
Second.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Have a good evening, everyone. My voice is about gone.